Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome, travelers, to the fringes of reality, where the strange and mysterious meet, and the thin veil between fact and fiction is torn. Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.
There it is.
I got you.
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Crigler. What's up, everybody? We are coming to you live from the Podcaster Studios in lovely Las Vegas, Nevada, run by Matthew and Alex with authoritarian precision here. They have allowed us to hang out in their studio. I don't know why. I came here straight from the road. So I have road stink on me, and Matt's really appreciating it right now. I had to drive through Death Valley to get here, but we're here. A little late. So we got a special show today. Even though we talked about JFK last week, we're going to talk some more about JFK this week, because this guy called me after the show and go, dude, I was just talking about JFK in LA, and this dude is Mike Bara.
Hey, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Prolific author and speaker and TV presenter.
Welcome back, Mike.
Welcome back.
Oh, you got an
It's
alien.
Zorbu.
It is Zorbu. Yeah. Why do you have Zorbu in your?
I don't know. and then, well, there's a story behind the Masonic one over here, so we'll just, that was
Oh
that
shit.
actually was Vegas. That I'm not. That was
Oh shit.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, I'm gonna get a Masonic tattoo, and everybody's gonna think I'm a Mason, which I'm not.
But every fucking Mason says that though, Mike.
I know they all say that.
None of the chats
Yeah.
gonna believe you.
Well, if you ask me directly, am I a Freemason? I have to answer truthfully. You know that rule.
You're not a cop.
No.
You don't have to answer truth.
Are you a Freemason?
No, hell no, fuck no. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, that was pretty definitive.
I had to ask.
Where?
Okay,
We're on Nerdrotic Live in Rumble.
man, I'm just really into
Fuck away.
all the symbolism lately. I rewatched The Prisoner just the last month, and I finally understood it. I finally was like, oh my god, this dude, be seeing you, the Illuminati thing, and there's all this Masonic stuff on the walls and all that. And it's like he knew about the New World Order. He even says, like, Leo McKern, number 2 in the second episode, even talks about the New Order, and I want the village to be the world. And I'm like, he knew in 1969, he knew everything. What a genius.
Yep.
I wish he was still alive to
That's-
talk to. Because you know what? There's a question that's always going to haunt me until I get to heaven, and I can. Why did he resign?
Yeah, we're never supposed to know.
Damn
We're
it.
supposed to guess though.
Damn it.
That might be the single best season of television ever. That or True Detective season 1.
Yeah. I've heard about True Detective. I never watched.
Season 1's good.
Oh my god, you gotta
Oh.
watch that, dude.
I know.
Some of the
Season one
best
is
TV
amazing.
ever.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
I'm
Season 1.
not watching it.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about a little JFK, a little Mars, a little whatever. We got some news, whatever we want to talk about, because we planned a lot for this show, which was not at all.
We got Mike Bara.
Organized
Then I
chaos.
screwed it up by saying, you got to let me come on and talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I said, well, I'll be in Vegas next week. Let's go.
Yeah. Worked
Oh,
out
yeah.
well because I live here.
Mm-hmm.
Ideal situation.
Hi, Garrett.
Hey man, what's up? I'm glad Mike's back. I was hoping we didn't, scare him off. Love Mike here on the show. Glad to have you back, man.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Black. What is the
What?
what is
Quarter
the-
black. I can't claim all black. That's I'll get attacked for that. Just the
Yeah, he
quarter.
looks Mexican, but he's quarter black.
Actually,
Exactly.
the girl who was behind this Masonic tattoo was also 1/4 black. So that's
Hey,
There you go.
quarter sister.
still a
That's out
bond
there.
with you, Garrett.
He does have like 18 siblings and 15 kids. So
Yeah.
he might
She could have been one of them.
I gotta watch it. I could get out of control here and say something really inappropriate. So
This would be the
X-Ray
place
Girl,
to do it.
bleep me.
What's stopping you?
Yeah. We haven't asked the right questions yet. Maybe if we
Yeah.
ask the right questions,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah.
Hi, Adam.
How's it going? It's good to have Mike back. I feel like last time I may have, I don't know, come across like I didn't like you or anything, and I don't want you to think that, because I thoroughly enjoyed the episode last time. I was just being a healthy skeptic, and I hope that's what you remember.
That episode sucked, and it was mostly my fault for being unprepared. I didn't realize I was going to kind of do a presentation. I thought we were just
It's my fault
sit and
because
chat.
I wasn't there.
and I was like, now what am I doing?
I have to keep an eye on these guys, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I'm
And
just
then, and then I got this dickhead, you know, in Queens.
He's pointing right at him.
Where's our dickhead?
Damn.
Adam, the thing is, it's true. When I do presentations, I grew up in engineering, right? I was an aerospace engineer for Boeing and Northrop Grumman and other companies like that. And back in the day, everything was drawing boards, right? You had to actually project in 3D in your head. There were no computers for you. And one of the things my boss told me one time, and he said, "You're really lucky that you got this job." This is during the Carter administration, so there were no jobs, right?
Yeah.
And he said, because only about 1/3 of the people can actually do a 3D projection in their head. Like, you can look at these 3 different views, and in your head, you can picture what this part looks like. And he said about 1/3 of the people can be educated, they can be brought along, and it can be developed, and 1/3 of the people just don't see it. And it's just a spatial projection thing. And I just think Adam's one of those guys. He's in the second category where you got to really like, okay,
Shut the fuck up, Mike. No. You're basically sitting here to my face calling me a moron, and I was trying to give you an olive branch.
No, it's not that at all.
Like, come on. Let's not start with that again. No, come on, man.
It's just
No.
people,
Sorry,
you know-
sorry. Just stop, dude. Just
I
stop.
don't-
Come on.
I
I was holding out an olive branch, and you're like, now here, hold on.
Oh, he's trying to be cool.
You're
Don't
calling
do
me a moron. You're
that.
saying
No,
I
I'm not
can't
calling you a moron.
see 3D images in my head when I look at
Some
something.
people can't.
Like,
I can't see 2D
I know what you're
images,
trying to say.
It's fine.
Come on.
I don't know that. I just
Okay. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Relax.
Let's not be sensitive.
You tried this last. You said the same thing last time. So come on, dog.
Have to decide, Adam and I.
You're just not picking up what he's putting down. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Well,
Okay.
I'll tell you what. We have a test today. We will have a test today, and we will see.
And if Adam
you-
passes,
Oh my.
if Adam
Adam
passes,
then he will be.
I think Adam's going to
Yeah.
pass.
All right.
So
Okay.
there you go. Hi, X-Ray girl.
Hi, I'm excited for Vegas because I'm gonna get drunk. That's it. It's my
Every
birthday
day?
month. What?
Oh yeah, it's your birthday month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a chick, so you're gonna like have it all month, all fucking month.
Well, you're fortunate, X-Ray girl, because I do live here, and I know a lot of good places you can do that, and I will help you find them.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
There you go. So let's start out with. I got to do ad reads, right?
Yep.
Let's start out with
Hell
ad
yeah.
reads.
Check the note. Check the note. Yes.
What?
X-Ray. Did you remind him?
That in the book.
Okay, on the book. Yeah.
And the book. We'll talk about the book in a second, but first we have. I guess I can look up and read it. That's pretty good. Here, I'll just put the mic up like this.
Oh.
1775 Coffee, 1775 and Rumble just launched their first anti-aging. I mean, I'm gonna have to do this with my Invisalign in. This will be fun. My anti-aging coffee. And no, it's not brewed in Fauci's lab, though it will make you feel younger without side effects of government advice. They dropped 1,000 longevity bundles, blew through most of them, and after watching freedom lovers panic harder than a CNN on election, they extended the sale and added a few more. Once this deal is gone, it's gone. Like your trust in the FDA. Yes, it's actually for $99, you're getting over $250 value. 2 bags of longevity coffee. I got to enunciate, man. This is hard. You know why it messes with me is the L's. Wait till you're going to get them, Garrett.
Yeah, I'm about to get mine too.
You're going to get them. It messes with you. I should probably take it out, but I don't want to do that on camera because it's not pretty. Where was I?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bunch of spit. Yeah, thanks, man. Infused with CAAKG. Is that how you say it, X-Ray girl? You're
Calcium.
practically a scientist. You look at boobs
AKG. What does that
through an
stand for?
X-ray.
Medical.
I don't know. So it's CAAKG.
Alpha ketoglutarate. It's a biological compound that regulates energy production in the Krebs cycle.
There you go. Cellular health and reduce biological age. And yes, they'll be selling biological age tests to prove it. Plus all ultra rare pea berry roast that makes up less than 5% of the global crops. Kind of like honest politicians. And exclusive merch that screams, don't shop at Target anymore. My wife's going to want to do that. You know, it'd be better if I looked over here and read it.
Oh yeah, now it looks like you're looking at the screen.
It does.
Yeah.
I was looking at another screen, but it was way too small. All of it specialty grade, single origin, small batch. This isn't your sleepy chain store coffee. It's for people who read food labels and voted before mail-in ballots were cool. If you believe in America and freedom and in not settling for weak corporate nonsense, this is your coffee. Every dollar you spend gets you on entry to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash. That's 99 entries locked in. And with all less than a month left, these bundle guarantees you a real shot. Head to 1775coffee.com/nerdrotic and grab yours before the bundle's gone. Fuel up, live long, and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. Ooh,
That's right.
We got the next one now. We got to do 2
Yes.
because they wanted us to do 2 on FNT, right? So this is for Rumble, though. So free speech is under attack, but Rumble refuses to back down. We've always believed in empowering voices, no matter how unpopular, and now we're taking that fight to the next level. When major advertisers conspire to pull their dollars, even brands like Dunkin' Donuts turn their backs, claiming Rumble had a right-wing culture. But we're not here to fit the mold. We're here to defend free expression. To strengthen this mission, we're excited to offer Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. You'll find exclusive content from creators like Russell Brand, Dr. Disrespect, Timcast, and the Mug Club with Crowder. Right, Garrett? It's more than a subscription. It's a stand for free speech. Your voice matters, Garrett. Join Rumble Premium. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using promo code Nerdrotic. Visit rumble.com/premium/Nerdrotic and claim your discount today. Together, we could turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble or simply just keep watching, your support helps keep free speech alive. What up? Thank you.
Well, that's
beautifully done. Beautifully done.
I'm gonna go sign up for that.
You
now.
should. Everybody should.
Absolutely. But I want to go back to something you talked about just at the beginning of that, which is, can you repeat the part about X-ray girl looks at boobs all day?
She's an X-ray technician.
Oh,
When did that come up? I don't remember this.
Because you don't listen to everything I say, which you should.
Oh, I guess it just happens all the time.
That actually makes you a scientist because you look at boobs all day.
I think I was looking at what AKG meant at the time, so my mind was in that space. So,
I had no
but
idea.
If that makes you a scientist, I think we're all scientists here. If the bar is just looking at boobs all day,
we're all scientists now. We are.
We are the scientists now.
We are the scientists.
But do you get to touch them all day?
So we're going to start out with news. Is that what we're going to start out with? Hi, everybody in the chat. I can't see you, but I know you're there. You know what? I can't see you. Hang, give me a second. I will see you soon. We're going to start out with news, right? We got a couple of news articles. X-ray girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got something about mummies. An earthquake
in Myanmar.
I think that actually was really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
What, the earthquake?
Yeah. Well, what happened?
Was cool.
No, what happened to an earth?
Not the earthquake itself, what it unveiled.
It unveiled like 1,000-year-old temple or something.
Yeah. Oh, no way. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, no, but I've seen the videos of what happened with the earthquake. That part was actually really uncool.
Right.
All right. Well, let's start with that. Do we got an article?
We got some pictures.
We got pictures?
Just feet below the surface.
Can you imagine that's just been hidden there? Just a foot of dirt?
Like for how long? Did they say? Okay, so this is not Miramar.
Myanmar.
Shout out to Miramar, San Diego.
You watched Top Gun last night too.
Yeah, I was
didn't you?
I was just
watching
San
on
Diego too.
Paramount
Yeah,
Plus,
Miramar. Yeah. It's in Myanmar. Is that a country? X-ray girl.
Here's the.
I'm very bad at geography.
Didn't it used to be Burma? It's Burma.
Okay, it's Burma.
I think so.
According to local, I got a report here. I can read a little bit about this. According to local reports near Tadayu, a town in central Myanmar, from the provincial capital of Mandalay, substantial ruins have appeared that archaeologists believe could have been remains of a water palace from the Kongbong, I don't know how to pronounce that, dynasty era. Kongbong dynasty, also known as the Third Burmese Empire, is the last dynasty that ruled Burma from 1752 to 1885 until it was annexed by the British Empire during the Anglo-Burmese War. The palace likely served as a royal city of Ratnapura Ava, meaning the city of gems, a former imperial capital of successive Burmese kingdoms from the 14th to the 19th century. You know, this is another one of those sites that they probably just moved in and they were like, oh, this is perfect for our palace. You know, it's probably been there for a lot longer. So, yeah, I mean, they don't really know exactly what it is. I think they're just kind of guessing at this point.
They're just kind of amazed it just showed up and it was below their feet this entire time. And like, how recent was this?
This looks like the roof. Is this the roof? Like, how deep down does this go?
Who knows? Just was unveiled. Very cool.
Ground penetrating radar on that.
The earthquake.
This article was April 10th. I think it was like the beginning of April. I mean, you saw all those big buildings with the pools splashing over.
Okay. So
March 28th.
All right. So this is the one we just saw. Okay. It took me a second to put that 2 and 2 together.
I believe that's the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's that area. Okay.
That's the biggest earthquake we've had in a couple of years. So
yeah,
that's nuts.
I would like them to use that SAR technology just to see what could be down there as well, especially if we get the algorithm down
the algorithm. They'll be at Cosmic Summit.
Yeah, they're going to be at Cosmic Summit. Yeah, the guy
I didn't see
an English presentation.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So I still want to see how they came up with like power coils. I think there's something down there, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think it's like they're just voids. So they illustrated it with like a cylindrical tunnel, it looks like, or coil. It makes it look like a coil. So your brain goes, are they doing some kind of power plant thing? It's like, I don't know. It's the 3D renderings make it look way more advanced than the example really is. Like, you're just going a little too far with those.
Have you seen that stuff, Mike? Under the Khafre pyramid?
Oh yeah, it's exciting. I mean, at first everybody was poo-pooing it, even Graham Hancock a little bit, right? But
you had to, because they were kind of misreading. But like, we had a guy on who said, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's definitely something.
Well, the thing is, if you do have these cylindrical shafts, that's not natural. Okay, I just let me just tell you. I mean, looking at pictures of Mars for my whole life, adult life, practically, that's not really natural. So if that's really what's down there, then it's something extraordinary that's got to be investigated, because it's unusual, and it who knows how old the Egyptian civilization really is. Probably more like 26,000 years rather than 2,600, or what do they say, 33 BC the pyramids were built, on top of what else?
On top of something else. Right? No, I think they're way older, and I think there's something there, and it could be cylinder shaped. I have no idea. But Marcus Young was on a couple of weeks ago, and he basically said that, like, well, there's something there. Like, we don't, but the technology that a lot of people were giving shit to, but Adam, you saw the Metatron video too. Like, the technology's new and it's legit. Like, it's really legit technology, and people were shitting on like the Italians. What satellite did they use again? Like a weather satellite or something?
I think a bunch of different ones, but it's the same technology that's used by oil companies to find oil in the ground. So it's not new. They're just like altering it to try to look under
It's really
archaeological
like what
sites.
they're looking for. Yeah, yeah.
Was that
So-
synthetic aperture radar, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
correct.
used to use that. They used to
Survey.
actually were using that at first for fighter jets. It was used in the air, and then they started saying, "Well, what if you point this in the ground? What are we going to get?" So, yeah, interesting development of a technology. And I was watching a video just before I came over here about there's all these buried tiger tanks somewhere, and they in all through Europe. They don't know exactly where they are, and if you can salvage one, it's like $20 million, even for just a Hulk, because they can restore it. So
Let's hang out the weekend.
Yeah.
A couple weekends we'll go digging.
Let's head to Belgium and start looking for some tiger tanks.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We'll be
Yeah.
close to Belgium in a few months.
If you won a $400 million lottery, wouldn't you want a tank? I mean, that's what I'd want.
I'd want a bunker first.
a bunker.
If I had
Bunker
left over, I'd definitely get a tank
Yeah.
To go grocery shopping.
to go grocery shopping.
Of course, yeah.
They're not comfortable to sit in, right?
We'd make it comfortable.
Well,
Yeah.
you rehab the inside.
yeah.
Yeah, it's for utility and looks. I don't care if it feels comfortable. It's a tank. It looks awesome.
Reminds
It's
me of what was it, GoldenEye, the Bond. That was, I didn't like the Pierce Brosnan Bonds, but man, that
I love
when he stole the tank and driving it through.
Yeah.
that was an awesome scene.
It
Yeah.
was.
I was like, I want that. I want to have a vehicle where I can crush other cars that are parked in my space.
Yeah, or a killdozer.
Yeah.
That or a killdozer. I'm good.
Oh yeah.
I'm good. What other news do we have?
Let's see here. We have this over here.
We'll go through the simulation that Adam found.
The simulation. Oh, do you have that up?
Ah,
I got the article, but you have a TLDR on it. Adam, do you want to go over a little bit?
Man, wait, the one where we're in the middle of the void.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
No, this is a lot. No, this is not something that we could just kind of breeze through. Basically,
Okay.
they had a simulation where we're in the scheme of the universe. Our solar system and the Milky Way is actually in the middle of like a huge blank space comparatively. I mean, yeah, this is essentially like what it's showing. Like we're actually in the cosmic world. We have like no neighbors. We like live in the middle of the boonies, essentially. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a fascinating article. I just threw it in there, but it's not really an article. It's because it was an actual science paper that I posted in there.
I mean, and it's a giant void, relatively speaking, because we do have a galaxy. I mean, I'm not going to say close, the Andromeda galaxy, but the thing is about the galaxies is they are moving away from each other. Well, or they're moving at the same pace. So I mean, it'd be hard enough to travel within our galaxy, but to go to another one, I mean, unless there was an actual wormhole where you could just instantly get there, you ain't never getting there.
Right.
Yeah.
You ain't never getting there. And
so do you think that the big dark, or the what is the inevitable darkness, because everything's going to be eventually so far away that the night sky will just be gone?
Everything is moving away from each other, apparently.
I mean, it's like hundreds of billions of years, I'm assuming that's going to be the case.
Until it starts all over again. And it'll just start all over again.
What caused the start? I'm always fascinated by this.
Was there a
What
start? We as humans,
the Big Bang, right? Did it exist?
So
what is the Big Bang?
Is the Big Bang
God, baby.
real?
God,
Well,
baby.
I mean,
Love this question.
I don't know. I think so. Yeah, I think it is, because I mean, if you look at the Bible, right? And I hate to get religious, but
Get religious.
when God says,
I just said, but God, so you're good.
well, it was darkness and void, and then he says, "Let there be light." If that isn't a description of the Big Bang, I don't know what it is. What is
So
right?
true.
And it makes sense that this universe, whatever it is, let's say there's one universe that we live in, this one 3-dimensional universe. It makes sense that it expands and expands to a certain point until all the momentum is gone, and then it contracts and contracts back into one little, and then God starts it all over again. I mean, that all fits with me. It's interesting though, because there's a lot of scientists that, like Dr. Tom Van Flandern, the late Dr. Tom Van Flandern, wrote a bunch of interesting books. One called Dark Matter, Missing Planets, and New Comets. And he talks about, the steady state argument is very valid. The redshift to account for acceleration and distance, there's a lot of problems with with redshift. There was a Harvard scientist named Halton Arp who wrote a book called Seeing Red, where he basically said, look, you can't trust that everything is accelerating away from from itself, because the redshift thing is a fallacious argument. And there, that made a lot of people mad. But I mean, everything in science, most everything in science has been found out to be untrue ultimately, right? So I can't tell you what I think. I just know that we're here and we matter, and don't destroy the one named Bara. And
there you go.
That's
for me.
That's all I'm trying to do.
My kid, or at least my kid,
or
these guys. But yeah, I don't know. I think there was a big bang, but I don't know if, like, as far as the universe and like, I don't think there was a start. I think that's a human concept. Start in the beginning. I think it's just here. It's always here. It's always going to be here. It might take different forms, but it's here. Like there wasn't a void. A void of nothing is pretty much what space is anyway. It's just filled with like matter and stuff. It's still a void of nothing that is now being filled with something, but it's always there. Unless, of course, we're just a simulation and then somebody turned it on. Then there was a start.
That's God, though. Like, God, there's nothing.
He turned the computer on.
Went, boom, turned everything on.
I mean,
and we like, iteration 3 or 4 or 5 down the road. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're not. This isn't base reality.
Maybe.
Oh.
What did Elon say? What was the percentage of the chance of this being base reality?
Oh, he said it was
one in
billions or
something.
Some crazy number. Yeah.
If in fact we are a simulation, that's the predicates on if we are a simulation. There after that, we are one. It's like 1 billion whatever chance that we are the base. Because if it's been done,
that was it. I remember that.
Probably been done many times before.
Well, here's the thing that always bothers me about this, right? And I know that our friends over at the Y-Files got huge when they did Are We Living in a Simulation? But my question for everybody who wonders about that is, what difference does it make? If you're walking in a bad part of Vegas and somebody walks up and sticks a knife between your ribs and twists it, you're still going to feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't real. Oh, yeah, it is. Because he's carving out your lungs, right? I don't see what difference it makes. Like, why is it even why even think about that? And I guess I'd like to hear everybody's opinion. To me, it doesn't matter. This is reality. This is the reality we live in, and it feels physical and it feels real, and I experience it that way. So what difference would it make? The fact that there's higher levels of existence that you could go to something that we would call heaven after this, and maybe come back and say, I screwed that life up. I want to fix it next time. That doesn't make it any less real to me being here, does it? Or does it?
Yeah, I agree. Like, you're the one experiencing it. So like, if you were a program, that program's life is everything, right? They're as real as they could ever possibly be. So if it's a simulation or whatever, then it doesn't really matter, because like, we can't change it. We can't do anything about it. It is interesting to know or not. That's why we always ask those questions, those big questions, even though it doesn't matter. Like, who built the pyramids and how did they do it? Doesn't really matter, but it's interesting. It's the same weather.
We all know aliens built the pyramids. So.
Well, but like, you can't change that. It doesn't change your day to day. If you got stabbed, like you said, you'd still feel it. So, but it's like, those big ideas are still interesting to think about.
It is. Adam, would it change the way you think about things if you got confirmation we're living in a simulation?
No, I guess not. Yeah, it wouldn't, because Bear's right. I mean, this is my reality. Whether or not there is other realities out there, what difference does it make? Because this is where I am right now. This is the meat sack that I embody, If
it's a digital meat sack, it's still a meat sack. I still observe it as a meat sack. Yeah, I think, I mean, perception is reality, I guess, right? I feel the same way. It'd be neat to figure it out. It's like, okay, but am I an AI within this? I'd have more questions, Adam. I just have more questions. All right, so am I still independent within the simulation, like completely? Because you might have been like the simulation is programmed, but then you all have free will, and whatever happens.
It's determinism and free will, and all those questions are still around, even if we're like, we're all in a simulation. But is the simulation simulating if we could make decisions or not? Or is the simulation simulating our decisions for us? So it's the same question we've been asking for thousands of years.
Decisions, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Adam, you said you had a son, right? Do you love your son any less if this is a simulation?
Nope.
No. He's best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
In this reality, anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Who knows about the other one? And who knows if it's getting turned on and updated and all that stuff. It's interesting to think about, but ultimately we'll never find out the answer, right? Like ever. And it really doesn't change the fact that, well, you know, even if I did, I still have to, you know, go to work. Stuff.
Yep.
You still have to eat. You still have to eat something to die.
Well, that's like
survive in
Hitchhiker,
this
though. It's like,
existence.
does it really, cosmically speaking, matter if I don't get up and go to work? If I find out the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And it's like, yeah, it does. But maybe not cosmically speaking, but speaking. What else we got? X-ray girl.
We have this. I thought this was. Oh, I cannot edit to stage. Oh, here we go. There. Scientists discovered 7,000-year-old mummies in the desert that don't share DNA with modern humans.
what?
Yep. Yep. Fascinating.
All right. Were they mummified by other beings, or were they mummified like naturally?
I think they
That would
have
be my
some
question.
images.
So
of
their
the
line
body.
died out
Okay, it's not this one that had the
7,000
images.
years ago. Is that what they're saying?
So 2 bodies, mummies from the Takar Kori rock shelter in Sahara have been found by a group with previously unknown ancestry. DNA analysis of the mummies, which are the remains of female herders from a time when the Sahara was more humid and known as the Green Sahara, did not show the expected sub-Saharan genes. These individuals are more closely related to other North African peoples who diverged from sub-Saharan populations long before that.
So they're us. They're just their line died off, and it wasn't expected. They thought they would be.
They're not from
different
that
area.
region that we would.
Not from that region. So maybe they walk there.
Wow, you mean people traverse the planet?
Migration.
What a radical idea!
It's
It's so funny,
crazy.
like this. God, so many times this more discoveries explain the questions that we're asking. Like the things that we think are in stone from academics and all the stuff that's studied, it's not actually in stone. That stuff's always shifting.
Science gets proven wrong like every 10 years.
Always.
Everything-
Like 99% of everything science has ever believed has been proven to be wrong. So, you know, 30 years ago, they laughed at you on, 50 years ago, plate tectonics was a joke,
Yeah.
you know, and now everybody accepts it.
Everybody accepts it. It's, you know what, it's still a problem with pre-Clovis here in America. It's like there was people here. There've always been people here since the invention of people, and they might not have like out of Africa now is kind of going away, and it looks like that a lot of them came from Asia, and it's there's been people here for 150,000 years.
Yeah.
And they were saying, oh no, human beings in North America only go back to 12 or 13. That's just utter bullshit. They keep finding
older and older
all the time.
Like, no, they were wiped out. That's what happened.
Yes, they were wiped out. 100%.
And well, you know, and they even found 26,000-year-old shoes that they knew were for females because they were smaller and they were all different styles, which served no functional purpose. So they were purely just because women wanted more than one pair of shoes.
One pair of shoes,
26,000.
I'm not surprised. Okay.
Some things never change.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Well, Dennis Ovid, Andrew Collins was talking about it. Like their clothes and stuff were really advanced. Like if you go look at some of the examples of it, it
Woven
almost
stuff.
looks like older Norse stuff, like Swedish, Norwegian. Like the patterns look very, very Northern European, It's crazy. And they weren't human
Interesting.
in our sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're not anatomically us today, modern, humans.
Somebody left a super chat that Ryan had Denisovan DNA. Did you?
On FNT,
Just don't let Jay Widener or Haimu San anywhere near those mummies because they'll turn out to be alien by the time they get done with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that one. They keep trying to go back to that. It's like that's a tough one to convince me. Sorry. But the mummies, they also found the mummies in the Gobi Desert that were white people with red hair.
Yeah.
Were they giants with extra fingers?
No, they were
Just
taller.
regular?
They weren't giants, but they were
Maybe
6
they
feet.
spliced in. They got some snoo action.
Okay.
Made smaller giants.
If giants were really 7 foot tall, red haired dudes, why are all Scottish people so short? I mean,
It got lost. Things got smaller. Why are
the degradation of time?
Things got smaller because we lost planets in the solar system, so the life diminished. Meaning you can't have as big of things as you used to have on this planet.
Do you think it was? You don't. Okay. Do you think it was like that might have caused the atmosphere to change, like less rich oxygen?
Sure. And then you have, if you had a water vapor canopy over the Earth, right? I did this research on ancient aliens and secret societies. The Younger Dryas impact event, if that actually happened, then not only would it have rained for 40 days and 40 nights at least, but it exposed us to cosmic rays that we were not normally exposed to. So our lifespans went from 900 years to 120 years. I mean, I really think if it wasn't for all the crap that's in our food, we'd probably live to be 120, give or take.
Yeah,
I think, but that's only under these conditions on the planet Earth right now. So yeah, I mean, I think you've had these catastrophic events that have changed the shape of what can live here. Because how do you explain dinosaurs? Dinosaurs are bigger. T-Rexes are bigger than anything currently alive on the Earth. So things must have been different 50 or 60 million years ago or whenever they lived. And of course, one of the things I'm totally into is you look at Mars and there's signatures of an explosion that devastated that planet from very nearby. And I don't think it was a nuclear war. I think it was that Mars was a moon that used to orbit this other super Earth that exploded. So
that became the asteroid.
And one of them became the asteroid belt, and one of them became just a bunch of dust, basically.
Yeah.
So, but if you think about it in terms of a system, of a solar system, like I did in my book, The Choice, 2010 New Page Books, pick it up. You look at it in terms of if there was more spin energy in the solar system then from more bodies, more planets, then there was more overall energy being produced, because there's this theory that energy, life energy, all energy comes from spin, right? The momentum, bulk angular momentum. So it would make sense that you can't have large things living on the Earth anymore, that now everything is sort of shrunk down to size. Maybe that's why the Anunnaki can't hang around here anymore.
Maybe,
it's just not suitable.
Didn't they equate the large size of the dinosaurs to the oxygen content that was on the planet? Like there was a lot more.
Well, yeah, and there were also periods though where there was much more carbon dioxide. So you have less oxygen and more carbon dioxide. But I think what they're
plants
doing
would grow.
Yeah, Adam, I think what they're really
put more
doing,
oxygen.
They're trying to polish a turd. Like they don't have a way to explain it in the current sort of limited explanation of physics and science and the way we understand things. But if you look at it from a hyperdimensional perspective, like Hoagland does, like everything comes from on high, everything comes from some other higher realm, then it makes a lot more sense that, in reality, you have less spin energy in the solar system. Therefore, you have less life energy. Therefore, you can't grow things as big as Godzilla anymore.
Well, there's still a couple of things left that are like giant sequoias out there and stuff. But those are the stuff that can survive it. Yeah, I definitely think like gravitationally, that's a word. I just made it up, guys.
No, it's a word.
It's a word.
Right, yeah.
That they've talked about, like if there's a big Brontosaurus, like they would die under their own weight.
Yeah,
like their heart couldn't pump the blood into his head and his body extremities.
That's something. I mean, we've talked about this before with the Younger Dryas, because there were 6-foot beavers running around just 12,000 years ago, and not those kind of beavers. Yeah, the animal kind of beavers.
And not to scare X-ray girl, but if the beavers were 6 feet, how big were the spiders, X-ray girl? Big. They were like those Australian spiders.
Yeah.
Do you think the gravity was a lot weaker on like where humans came? Like if on Mars, for example, like, do you think that that's why they were taller? So then when they moved to Earth, they were seen as giants, but then slowly that's why the Scots are short now, because gravity on Earth is stronger. So like their bones just couldn't support.
Too. I blame the alcohol.
Yeah. Scotch whiskey. They didn't invent Scotch whiskey.
No, that's
gravity and alcohol.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because Mars would have been under that theory, the Mars tidal model that Hoagland came up with, and I helped him with 25 years ago now. Good God, that's a long time.
That is.
Anyway,
You're old.
yeah, it's a smaller body, less mass, therefore less gravity. I don't think it's that disparate to Earth's gravity. It's not like the moon where it's 1/6 and we could all jump like Michael Jordan if we were on the moon, but it's less. And so, yeah, you could have a larger civilization. Although with the tidal forces, if there was this relationship did exist, which I'm just going to say it did, that Mars was like a moon of this much larger super Earth. The tidal forces might have made it a more intense gravity. So it's hard to know because I'm not John Brandenburg. I'm not a physicist.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, and that planet's no longer there.
Right.
Yeah.
And the planet's not there. So, but you can tell from the fossil signature, you can tell from the bulges, the tidal bulges on Mars, which are massive, the biggest in the solar system, that it was in a tidal lock situation with this other planet, this parent planet, just like the moon is with the Earth, always showing the same face to, let's call it Phaeton. That was one of the names that was given to it. And then when that sucker exploded, or was exploded, it pretty much was a bad hair day for everybody living on Mars. And I think they probably tried to survive there for as long as they could, but it just became, Earth became much more appealing. I mean, I think Venus was habitable back in the day.
Yeah, something definitely happened.
You had an inner Earth and an outer Earth and a middle Earth, and we're the only one left. And we got to figure out these catastrophes, what caused them, to see if there's anything we can do to prevent them. So, and also terraforming Mars back to what it used to be would be a good idea.
What's a Venus orbit? Isn't it fast, or is it faster?
Yeah, it's faster because it's closer, but it's that's why Venus goes retrograde sometimes. But the interesting thing about Venus is if you look at the radar scans, you can't see through the atmosphere, and so there's this idea that it was global warming that made Venus this uninhabitable hell. But if you look at it, there's this huge scar about 1/3 away around the planet, right? So it looks like some giant chunk of something hit it and just tore the shit out of it as it was rotating. And in fact, Venus rotates in a retrograde manner. Whatever hit it might have even got it spinning the wrong way and vaporized the oceans, creating the thick atmosphere. And then you had all this volcanic activity from everything molten exposed, all the sulfur released. It all fits. And it kind of might go back to like one catastrophic event, like an explosion of a large planetary body in the orbit where Mars is now.
Yeah.
And so Velikovsky may have gotten the details wrong, but the basic concept was correct. So think about it like this. If there's a reason why Sagan went after Velikovsky so bad, and I keep looking over at Adam here because I'm trying to convince him. There's a reason why Sagan.
What do you mean? I'm in on this. Right? This is fascinating
we're
stuff.
We're locked in.
No, but he's in on this. No, Adam's definitely in on this stuff.
So
100%.
Why did he go after Velikovsky so unfairly? Why did he go after Richard Hoagland so unfairly after being buddies with him for almost 20 years, in Parade magazine back in 1985 about the face on Mars? And the answer is, the first question you're going to get at a press conference, if you're NASA and you sit down and you go, well, it looks like Mars used to be a really nice place and people used to live there and they lived a very comfortable life, and look at these really cool pyramids and monuments they built. And there's all this mathematical knowledge, but something bad happened and they all got wiped out. Well, what bad happened? Well, we think they used to orbit another planet, which was commonly called a super Earth. It's about twice the size of Earth and 5 times as massive, or vice versa. And it exploded. And the next question you're going to get is, excuse me, we live on a planet. Planets can explode. You don't want to know that. And there are natural mechanisms.
Yes.
You can have natural nuclear chain reactions. There's papers out there that show all the math on that. That could happen if you get enough pressure compressing the uranium at the right depths. Kaboom. And or the next question that's even more bizarre to contemplate is, what if there was a war? It's almost like, and I would really, I would really like, I wish there was a comic book called The Face on Mars that was created by Jack Kirby in 1958. That said,
cool.
There was this peaceful race of giants living on the planet Mars, and their machines were mining the super Earth that they orbited and then the machines turned on them and the AI attacked them and there was a war and they had to blow up the other planet. I wish that existed.
Make that.
Yeah.
But like Adam brings up a good point. It's like, what if the civilization developed a way to make black holes and they were like, let's try this out. And they did, and then whoop, boom.
Little ones, they're perfectly safe, guys.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Black holes are perfectly safe. I was telling the story, and I got to find the recording because it's really good. I'll repeat it here again. The late great Art Bell was pressing Michio Kaku on the whole CERN thing, going, can you guarantee me? And his Art Bell voice, can you guarantee? I got to do it with like a smoker.
Yeah.
Can you guarantee me that we won't get sucked into a black hole? Michio Kaku's all, no. It's almost completely unlikely. And he goes, almost. But is it for sure? No. The chances are very small. Art, this is Mr. Kaku. Can you give me 100% certainty that we will not accidentally create a black hole? And he finally just goes, I can't. So he finally gave up.
Yeah, and if the chance is anything less than 0, you absolutely shouldn't do it.
No.
Right? Why are we doing it? I mean, for what?
Why are they building a 3 times bigger, larger one that'll be ready by 2070? It's like, okay,
because the last black hole wasn't big enough to suck the whole planet up like Vulcan in Star Trek 2009. That's why.
God, I hated that scene. I fucking hated that scene. I could have liked that movie if they didn't fuck with canon, like from the original. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah,
like it's a good movie by itself. Everything else it spawned is shit.
Except does Kirk ever win a single fist fight in any of those 3 movies? Like,
no,
I don't think so. He's always got a fat lip or a black eye or something. Yeah.
Well,
Kirk was supposed to be a badass.
Yeah, the Kobayashi Maru, like fuck J.J. Abrams.
Well, that's
just a fucking suitcase transporter.
Yeah,
stop. It's supposed to be hard to transport.
Then what do you even need starships for?
That was before.
End of the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was before the Star Trek: The Motion Picture, where they had a transporter problem. One of the most horrific. Like, it scarred me as a child watching that.
Yeah, if
we got back,
if you
didn't
can
live long.
transport all the way to the Klingon home planet, what do you need?
What do you need?
Why would you do that? Yeah.
God damn it.
Think about this, writers. Think.
Yeah, they're all making more money than any of us. Too.
Yeah, dang it.
I need to get this. How do I not have this comic? How do I not have the face on Mars?
Oh, I think it's in one of my presentations.
It is.
Actually,
it definitely is.
Drive. Yeah, it was a real comic from 50. And Kirby knew guys like Willie Lay, who was connected to Braun.
Dude.
So I think they got this story from NASA, from people in NASA.
Kirby got into Sitchin too. So if you go into like
did he?
It's into a lot of mythology. But if you read the Eternals, anything from his early 70s where it looked like Kirby took a bunch of acid, but he didn't, because Jack Kirby never took fucking acid. I'll punch you if anybody says it, but it feels like he did.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of Anunnaki, ancient alien stuff.
And I mean, you look at that. Well, first of all, it's the face on Mars.
Yeah.
25 years before they took the first picture of the face on Mars, right? And it looks exactly like the face on Mars, except they climb it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there it is. And the whole story, and it's the whole thing. It's the Anunnaki, the tall, peaceful giants living their best life, and then the whole Dune thing happens, and the AI turns on them. And you look at the invaders, and they look like robots. They look like machines. They don't. So it looks like a war against the machines kind of thing. And
maybe that's what it was.
And I think I think it's racial. I think it's racial memory. It's in our DNA that we remember these things that happened millions of years ago.
Did Attack on Planet? That's Wally Wood. I need to know what comic it's from. Help me, chat.
Well, I think the comic was an episode. I think it was actually the comic may have been called The Face on Mars.
Okay, I'll find it. I shouldn't do that while I'm on the show.
We should have been
shot.
I should have been better prepared.
What?
Should have had it.
No, we're not prepared at all.
Let's pop eBay open. Okay, we can find it. We'll hunt it down.
Dude, I've eBayed all. I'd be fucking Az is bitching about something. 2 minutes. I go on eBay. I'm like, all right.
Oh, that's a good deal.
That is a good deal.
I want to hear about JFK. You said you have some JFK information.
Well, I caught the last, I don't know, half an hour of the show, and you were actually kind of just wrapping up the JFK segment section of it, and I was like, God, I really, really wanted to be on there. And it's frustrating because I did write a book called Ancient Aliens and JFK, right?
Yep,
Which is
I remember
part of it was to cash in on the Ancient Aliens thing, but there is some reality to this, which is that let's assume that there's leftover ancient alien stuff on the moon.
Okay.
And let's assume that certain people in government knew about that. So when I watch these hearings and I watch Oliver Stone just spew his just stupid half crap out there. I mean, he's not completely wrong, but he's got so many aspects of it not correct. And it's just like, no, Lee Harvey Oswald was not standing in front of the Texas School Book Depository when the shots were fired. That's a guy named Billy Lovelady, and 3 or 4 other people were standing right with him. And, that's just crap. So I'm watching this and it's driving me a little bit nuts, but let's assume that they knew there was stuff there. So what people don't understand and don't know about Kennedy for the most part, and it's not even being discussed in these hearings, is that he had made a deal with the Soviet Union, with Khrushchev, to go to the moon together, the United States and the Soviet Union. And he started issuing national security action memos to carry this out, to open up offices at NASA. And there's another memo that says CIA, and tell them what we know about real and secret space programs. And so that they don't mistake actually what it says, a bona fide UFO, basically, for one of our secret rockets, and we're not going to attack them. So he actually had made this deal. Now, if you think about it, let's assume you go back to the 2020 election, and I don't want to get too political here, but I'm about to. We all know what happened, right? A certain candidate was winning by a huge margin, and then all of a sudden they stopped counting in 7 swing states at pretty much exactly the same time.
Yeah. Water pipe burst.
We all know this.
They shut they got rid of observers.
Yep.
Shut down one office, taped over the fucking windows.
Yeah.
We all watched it,
but there were no shenanigans.
Yeah,
right?
lots of
there were no shenanigans. But what nobody ever asks,
fairest election of all time.
Nobody ever asks who gave the order to do that. That's where the question comes from. So what I see in these hearings and in this document release is everybody saying, "Oh, well, the CIA killed him." Okay,
I think so.
Who in the CIA?
Who in the CIA?
Who gave the order?
Oh, that's a good question.
Nobody.
CIA is a big organization.
Who gave the order? Well, the order didn't come from CIA. CIA was the muscle. And in the book, what I talked about then was that there's all these documents about an organization called Majority or Majestic 12, which is the secret government organization. They were the model for the syndicate in the X-Files. That did apparently exist. There's all kinds of documents that appear to be authentic and official that indicate that this organization existed. And in the memos, there's a memo called the Byrne Memo, where it was a document. Apparently, James Jesus Angleton's son or grandson saw his dad trying to burn these documents and rescued them out of the fire. That's what I think the story is. I'm not positive, but it says in there, we got a problem. If Lancer asks us about aliens or UFOs, your job is to lie to him. If he doesn't buy it, bring in 3 or 4 more of us from this organization, Majestic 12, and we'll all lie to him. And if that doesn't work, we know that Lancer has been inquiring into our activities, which we cannot allow. Now, Lancer was JFK's Secret Service code name. So you have this documentary evidence that nobody's talking about, right? Nobody wants to talk about this but everybody's satisfied with, well, the CIA did it. Well, who in the CIA? I'll tell you who was on MJ-12, who used to be in CIA. His name is Alan Dulles.
Yes.
And he had 2 jobs. One job was director of CIA when he started with Kennedy. Kennedy then fired him, but he was also MJ-1. He was the leader of Majestic 12. And this document is written in a style which people who analyze styles say it's very much Dulles's writing style. And it's dated to September of 1963, basically saying this guy's getting a little bit out of control and we've got to do something about it. And then on November 12th, you have these 2 national security action memos, which indicate okay, time to open an office and start exchanging information with the Russians. You would not do that unless you had an agreement. You follow that up with Sergei Khrushchev, Khrushchev's son, who says, yeah, my dad agreed. We took a walk in late October, early November, that we were going to go to the moon together. We were going to try to put an end to all this Cold War stuff. This Cuban Missile Crisis really shook my dad up because he underestimated Kennedy, and we almost started World War III. And he was ready to make a deal. So if there's ancient alien technology on the moon, are you going to let it go? Are you going to let a guy send Russians, those very same Russians, to the moon and share everything you find if what you're going to find is alien technology that you're going to reverse engineer? That was intolerable. And that, I think, is when they had to pull the trigger. And that's why the whole Kennedy assassination is such a mess, why it's so obvious that there's a conspiracy, and why it's so obvious that there were two shooters, and why it's so obvious that the Warren Commission was a cover-up, because they had to do the whole damn thing in 10 days.
Yeah.
And you know, I came, you look at the Badgeman photo. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but that, it's clear who that is. That's Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit. That's who it is. You can see the baldness pattern, the ears, the eyebrows. It's him. And you have Gordon Arnold, who said, I was standing on the grassy knoll. I just got out of basic training, and a shot went right past my ear, and I hit the ground. And Senator Ralph Yarborough, who was in the motorcade, saw him, testified twice that he saw this guy dive right up by the fence. And he tells this whole story about this guy in a policeman's uniform, but with no hat. And if you look at the Badgeman photo, it's a guy in a policeman's uniform, but he's not wearing a hat. And so you piece all these things together, and you've got at least two shooters, which means you've got a conspiracy. You've got the information from the House Committee on Assassinations in '78, which has got the acoustic evidence of 4 shots, 3 from Oswald. I think it's Oswald. I'm 99% sure. And 1 from Tippit on the grassy knoll. And nobody is asking any of these questions. They're sitting there and they're talking about, well, you know, that Lee Harvey Oswald was seen by, you know, somebody else, you know, 30 minutes away from this. I mean, everybody knows he went to work that day in the school book depository. Everybody knows he wasn't there when they did the roundup of employees at the school book depository. And everybody knows that he shot Tippit 6 times. Now, there are people who say it wasn't Oswald, but there's a whole bunch of people that say clearly they identified him as it was. So then you have another document released in the Trump dump in 2017, which says flat out, the Russians said that there was a meeting that took place on Thursday before the week before the assassination, and the people present were Lee Harvey Oswald, Dallas policeman J.D. Tippit, and it was in Jack Ruby's strip club. So Oswald and Tippit kill Kennedy. Oswald has orders to kill Tippit. He kills Tippit. Ruby kills Oswald. Ruby gets turbo cancer and dies a year or 2 later before.
That's odd.
Yeah.
So, the thing is, what bothers me is that my theory's not insane, and there's documents for at all levels.
The only insane theory is Oswald did it by himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And, you know, and then they say stuff like, well, those MJ12 documents. Oh, you know, the FBI says those aren't real documents.
Okay. That's good enough for me, everybody.
Yeah, the same people who went through the First Lady's panty drawer in Mar-a-Lago say that those are not authentic documents. Well, that's good enough for me. I'm done.
Yeah. It's the FBI. They're a completely objective organization that really is looking out for the best of the people and tells the truth all the time.
That's right.
100% trustworthy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like the globalists. The globalists are just nice guys.
Yeah.
And gals.
What's best for us all?
They just want to make. They just want to make the whole earth into the village, where you just give up all of your individuality and your common sense and your right to.
And you'll be really happy and safe.
And you'll be happy
and safe. We'll give you all the drugs you want. You can just sit there and turn into molded flesh.
I mean,
chair.
What it feels like, Gary. What it feels like is it's like the previous narrative was Oswald was a nutcase and he acted alone.
Yes,
that has failed.
Right.
That has failed.
Yeah.
So I was very optimistic that the next one was Trump was going to let all this stuff out, and there was going to be stuff in the documents, and there really isn't anything in the current 80,000 I've seen. But I think what's happening now,
I read every word of it.
There's a new narrative. The new narrative is now, oh well, CIA did it, but that's going to become accepted. That I think they figure they can buy another 25, 30, 40 years you know, with the CIA killed him. Well, who in the CIA killed him? Who gave the order?
Yeah.
I obviously don't know shit, but I think they've had for one, I think the people who actually killed JFK, I don't think they wrote anything down on a fucking piece of paper.
Probably not.
And I think whatever records were around are gone. Like, it's been way too much time. And I'd love to know. But
you got to remember, back then it was paper, right? It was paper.
It was.
And they did document things, and you know, paper can still surface. It can still be found. There's some archive somewhere. I mean, that's
seen it, but then they use
some secretary put it in her attic.
It's a total fake, even though that totally looks like one of our documents.
Oh yeah.
I've gotten some incredible pictures of the moon and stuff from people that worked on Apollo, and they got all these 8x10 glossies of all these pictures the astronauts took, and they stuck them in a photo album and stuck them under the stairs for 40 years, and then they pop them out.
There's too many stories about that. Like
this one has pyramids on it, and the one on NASA's website that's supposed to be the same
NASA
picture
blurred
suddenly
out
doesn't
a
have
lot
the
of shit.
pyramids. Yeah,
like, well, you had the woman go on the fucking multiple times going, yes, I blurred stuff out.
Yeah,
I forgot her name.
I airbrush stuff. Yeah,
I airbrush stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I would understand if they knew about that and they had like technology that they wanted to reverse engineer, then we have like a motive I understand. What crazier, if he sounds crazy or not, that's a motive I understand. Like, just covering up pyramids on Mars that don't have anything in them is tough for me to buy. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Because you're going to break some religious narrative. It's not like we're a super religious country.
There's
right
the
now.
Brookings document that talks about how you'll drive people crazy, and the people who will go the most crazy are going to be the scientists and engineers who think that they know everything. And when they find out they don't, they're going to go crazy.
That makes me want to make it real even more. No, but like, you tell me that they found something.
The angry astronaut might have a breakdown if you tell him the truth.
Hey, have a breakdown then. That's how we get stronger. Okay. No, if they find technology that were there reverse engineering, which I totally think we do. I think we've found crash UFOs. I think we've dug up UFOs, and I think we're reverse engineering shit. And it's proprietary technology that giant corporations are, and they're making a hell of a lot of money off it. And then I'm like, that makes sense why they would cover it all up more than anything.
Well, and then, you know, there's even the second one, which is just they wanted an end of the Cold. They didn't want an end of the Cold War. They needed the Cold War. You can take the alien thing completely out of it. The fact that Kennedy had agreed with Khrushchev to do this, that in of itself is motivation enough for them to finally pull the trigger. I mean, Richard Belzer, remember him, the comedian and the actor? He wrote a book one time about conspiracy, and he said about Kennedy, he said it's not who wanted to kill him, it's who didn't want to kill him. Yeah. Everybody did, but I think that the Khrushchev thing, going to the moon together, was the last straw.
I think him even talking, I mean, and you're right, but like the fact that he even talked to Khrushchev would be like, would be enough, like you said, to get him killed.
Right. So, you know, because they want to, and I agree with Sergei Khrushchev, who said, look, if Kennedy had lived and that had happened, we'd be living in a completely different world today, and a much better world than we've been with, you know.
The world's kind of crazy right now, guys.
Yeah. So that military industrial complex would have made a lot less money if we were working together.
I'm still stuck on this this moon alien tech now, like, and the whole thing with the Russians like finding it. So like, we obviously got it right, and is that where the alien? Well, potentially.
Yeah, I think I can show you pictures of some of the stuff they picked up that was really they took pictures of. But anyway, go. So Adam, sorry, Adam, I interrupted your question.
No, I now I want to see those things. Like, that's cool. I mean, I've never heard about that.
We haven't been back. That's really weird.
Well, I mean, not really. If you think about it, it cost $10 billion in 1966 money. That's like 400 billion today. Right?
But there's plenty of reasons to go up there. There's tons of very profitable reasons to go there.
That's why Elon's doing it.
Yeah.
Right. That's why.
Now I could buy government incompetence and stuff, but like, it's really strange. We're going.
Well,
like,
I just think
Elon's going there, and NASA's going there in 2 years, right?
The thing is, look, if we had told people, oh, by the way, there's alien artifacts on the moon, and we found those, I think we would have been anxious to go back, right? But they told everybody it's just a dead rock with a bunch of rocks. We brought back a bunch of rocks. So who's going to want to spend that much money, especially during that political climate of the 1970s, when the economy was kind of rocky and, you know, kind of like the last 8 years? People just didn't have the political will to spend the money anymore. And there was the old, I think, completely false argument that that's money that could be
the
better spent
80s,
on Earth.
There's patriotism and the shuttle, and you think you'd have built your moon base then, especially when there's stuff you can mine there.
How do you know we didn't? Because have you ever read the Reagan diaries? Have you ever read that book?
No.
There's a really interesting entry in one of the Reagan diaries where he said, I had a briefing today from the space guys. He didn't say the NASA guys. He said that our space guys. He said, and it's pretty incredible. He said something along the lines of, it's pretty incredible. We have ships that can carry up to 300 people at a time. And I'm like, oh, we do? Really? The space shuttle carried 6, 8 if you don't bring any, if you don't bring a toilet, you can get 80 people in there. But I mean, that's an actual
300
road, something like 300. It's crazy.
Wow.
So there was something called, what was it called? I put this in the Y files.
There was a lot of,
there was like a space plane that was being worked on that could have shipped, that was basically fly like a rocket and land like an airplane, that was proposed and then, canceled in 1972, but it fits the description exactly of what Reagan was talking about. So he did write that in his diaries.
Yeah, we definitely have a secret space program, the $400 toilets. If you guys remember back, 90s, when did the shuttle stop flying? What year?
Oh, like 2009 or something.
Yeah,
8 or
so
9.
late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, almost
15.
every trip was a military.
Yeah,
we couldn't talk about it. Like there was, here's a scientific trip, and we'll show the astronauts. But a lot of them they just didn't talk about.
Right. Well, and I took out a tour of NASA in like 97. I was in Orlando for some conference and went down to NASA, my wife and I at the time. And there's a completely separate military shuttle facility there that was exactly a literal copy of the civilian facility, but it was all military and it was all blocked off, and you could see the building, but that's all you could see was the outside of the vehicle assembly building. So they had their own separate facility. And there's been secret payloads and stuff on missions forever. Apollo 16 had a secret payload. Yeah.
It did.
That's still classified. They called the experiment Chapel Bell.
How can it still be classified? A calculator brought that up. The Apollo was a calculator.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's Garrett?
Yeah. Like what would be the justification for that experiment still being
classified?
It's not the technology.
No.
It only has to be what the experiment discovered. And it was called Chapel Bell. That's all we know about it. And if you do any Freedom of Information Act with NASA or any other agency about Chapel Bell, they say we don't have anything. But that's the mission where they deliberately crashed the lunar ascent stage of the lunar module Orion, also known as Osiris, also known as the Egyptian god that NASA worshipped. And I can go over that.
It's just a coincidence that there's all that weird
and they crashed it
of Moloch and shit.
And
at NASA.
Right. And that's the one where all the seismic stations have been set up on Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, and 16, all recorded the moon, quote, ringing like a bell.
Like a bell.
Vast caverns for hours and hours. So obviously Chapel Bell had something to do with that, but the results of the experiment remain classified to the point that they won't even admit anything about it other than there was something called Chapel Bell on Apollo 16, because it will shatter your reality. If is the moon hollow? Well, maybe not hollow, but there's certainly plenty of real estate.
Honeycomb.
What's going on under the surface?
Randall Carlson thinks it's honeycombed, and that would make sense.
That could be true.
Yeah,
that could be true. He's a smart guy.
He is a smart guy.
The structural strength of it, and then the ability to ring. Yeah.
Yep.
But there's a lot of proof too, a lot of evidence that the moon comes from the Earth, that it was fissioned off when the Earth was in a molten stage.
Yeah.
When there's all this spin, remember, everything is spinning, right? And this again goes back to Tom Van Flanderen's book. He believes in the solar fission theory of planetary formation. NASA tells you, oh, well, a couple of rocks just magically glue themselves together, and then they start gluing other rocks together, and they make a planet after a million years. Van Flanderen says, no, what happens is the sun is collecting all this data, rock, gas, dust, and everything, and then it starts to get spinning too fast, and it flattens, and then it spins planets off, and it spins them off in pairs, and he goes through this whole thing, and then planets like the Earth would then spin off moons like the moon. And his argument is that if you look at Mercury and Venus, they're a twin pair just like the Earth and the Moon. So he thinks something catastrophic happened to Venus and knocked Mercury out of the orbit around Venus, which makes sense too, because if you look at Mercury's orbit, it's super eccentric, egg-shaped. It's not circular. Well, if it's that close to the sun with all that gravity, how is it not circularized by now? So we're getting a
Who
little
is
bit
that?
here.
I want to read more about that.
Yeah, that was Dr.
Oh, sorry.
The doctor.
It's called the exploded planet hypothesis. You could look that up. It's Dr. Tom Van Flandern, Flandern. He passed away in 2009, but he was a real genius. So, you know, I don't remember what we were talking about, but we're
talking about NASA and the
Moon.
and the moon. So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of evidence that if you look at the oxygen ratio isotopes of the lunar soil that's been brought back, it's the same as the Earth. And if I were to bring, for instance, I don't know, strontium 90 back from Mars, it would have a different molecular makeup than strontium 90 on Earth. It would still be strontium 90, but Mars has a specific chemical signature. Earth has a specific chemical signature. So the Earth and the Moon have the same specific chemical signature across several different elements, which can't happen unless at least some of the Moon came from the Earth. So is the Moon artificial completely? I don't think so, but I do think it's probably a heavily modified natural satellite. But we can't even agree on how, you know, planets and moons form. NASA has their opinion, which I think Van Flandern proves is probably wrong. So, you know,
do you think there's something? I have a question. Do you think there's something to all this? There's a lot of Elon hate and it's built up, kind of overblown. Like there's normal, you know, political anger, but this is like way out of what it should be. Is that something to the fact that he's going to be going to going to Mars, to the moon? He's doing things that are outside of the establishment, you know, spacecraft. They're trying to slow him down.
Yeah, because look, Elon's not stupid.
No,
Elon knows what's on Mars. Okay, and he's seen the same pictures I have, and I'm sure he studied the work that Hoagland and people like that have been doing for years. So there's a reason why he wants to go there, partially because he's probably seen the infrared pictures, which show what looks like a city underneath Sidonia, where the face is. There looks like.
I'd love to see some LiDAR on Mars. That'd
exactly.
be awesome.
It looks like there's some places we could go and hang out, and start things over again. So he knows what's there. So that's a big part of his motivation, and of course, wanting to make us a multi-planetary society, because maybe they know something we don't about an asteroid coming in the next 300 or 400 years. I don't sense there's a panic to get to Mars, but you know, I mean, I don't think we have anything to worry about in our lifetime. But yeah, of course,
he really wants to go there, and it's not a return trip.
No,
right?
No,
like,
not
once
initially.
you're there.
Yeah, not initially. If you go to Mars, you're going to stay on Mars, and it's probably going to be a long time before we can come and pick you up and bring you back. Kind of like the whole Project Serpo thing. You know, you're not going to get a ride back. So. Yeah, there is some of that, but it's also, you know, look, let's face it, there's a certain percentage of society that just hates people that have money.
Yes.
You know, what's the meme? The Lisa Simpson meme, you know, none of your problems are because somebody else is a billionaire. But it's hard to tell. And then there's a lot of political stuff because of who he's aligned himself with politically. But yeah, don't kid yourself. The deep state, the people that are behind that the globalism, you know, they see him as a real threat. And so of course they're helping propagate this propaganda against this guy. Not that I know him, but you know, I mean, he's not stupid. He knows what's there.
And it's not people aren't burning Teslas at grassroots. They're not like showing up grassroots. They're being paid.
Yeah.
Just like Antifa's being paid, just like the Summer Love was being paid.
Right. So it's, you know, and I mean, the more we find out about these historical things, the more we see, you know, in US aid stuff, the more we see all this stuff is paid, right? It's all fake.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're not still talking about US. Well, so much other stuff has happened, but US aid was fucking mind blowing. Like what was going on with that. And it really did. Now it's getting affixed to everything. You know, I do it for a joke, but I think, you know, I think there is some real organizations out there, but like so much of it was is being stirred up. And after COVID, I think more people just realize that now there's way more people like looking at something going, is this real? Is it? Because it doesn't feel real. You know, and it didn't feel real before, but you know, I just wasn't buying it then. I'm buying the fact that I'm not buying it anymore. It
brought it home.
They did.
It made it like personally affect you to the point where you can't go outside without thinking, oh, I'm not supposed to go outside. If I have to go outside, I have to put on something, or I have to go through the protocol that they're pushing onto me. Then it made it personal. So then more people than ever went, okay, there's something up. What is this? We have to figure it out. And they spoke up.
They awoke the sleeping giant.
Yeah.
When they talked to convince you it was a good thing to wear a mask in your freaking car, or when you're outside swimming in the ocean, you should wear a mask. I mean, they just crossed the line, and I think there's no going back now because people are waking up all across the spectrum.
Exponentially now. Thankfully.
Sorry. Mixing my wife.
I thought you were looking something up.
No. Well, no, I should.
If you wanted to talk about something, I could talk. I mean, what do you want to talk about?
We have been talking about it. I'm into this subject. I love the debate that the moon might not be real. I love the debates of like our overlords have overlords.
Yeah.
They definitely do. And I have no idea who they are.
I can't go to
who's
David Icke's level, you know. Yeah, who's they exactly?
Yeah. I like David Icke is I love where he builds up a narrative, and it's really, but then when he goes to the end game, I'm like, no. So he doesn't really bring it home for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really good at like pointing out similarities, and like this pattern is like, you know, Washington D.C. is designed like this. And
sometimes he puts stuff out, and I'm like Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Oh, right. And then other times he puts stuff out, and I'm like, okay, Grandpa, let's get you your blankie and your get to bed, because it's just like, wow, the Queen's a reptilian. Okay,
all right, I'm not going to go that far.
Sure.
I'm not going to go that far.
Of course, Johnny Rotten tried to tell you that 50 years ago. So,
well, Johnny Rotten tried to tell you about Jimmy Savile.
He was on the ball about almost everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, whatever. He's just a punk.
The guy's a genius, and he's not doing the new Sex Pistols tour either. He's not. He's refused to go out with them.
Smart.
Oh yeah,
so they got some other guy, and it's like, how you can't call it the Sex Pistols if Johnny's not in the band?
No.
You know,
I mean, you can call it without Sid Vicious, because he really didn't play the bass like at all. So like that, he was just there.
You can't do it without Steve Johnson. You can't do it without Johnny.
Exactly.
And Paul Cook, you know,
but it probably has a lot to do with Johnny going out, becoming like MAGA.
I think Johnny's very comfortably retired in his mansion.
Give a shit. Well, he lost his girlfriend or wife.
Oh, he did.
Many years. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
So he's probably those guys. I saw they reformed. What was it? How long ago, guys? 20 years ago?
1996.
30 years ago? Yeah, I saw him then.
30 years ago?
And and in 96 in Toronto, and 2003 at the Greek Theater in LA. That was a great show.
They're great shows.
Great. Glenn Matlock, you know, the original bassist, was there.
Dude, I got to see, like, within 5 years, I got to see the Sex Pistols, a band I never thought I'd see, and Iggy and the Stooges.
Yeah, and I saw
a band I never thought I'd see.
I saw them 3 times. I saw them in Vegas, because, you know, they broke up right before they were supposed to come to Seattle, right? They broke up in Frisco, and their next show was going to be in Seattle. And like, shit, I was like, shit, it's 76. I just was so pissed. And then I thought, I'll never see them now. But then eventually they came back. And the thing I love about the Pistols is they got like 17 songs. And they get up and they play their 17 songs, and then they
leave.
They're not
going to play anybody else's songs.
Yeah, that's it.
And you're seeing the real Sex Pistols.
Right.
Again, like Sid Vicious wasn't playing shit.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
While he's playing his fucking drugs, killing his girlfriend.
Oh, I don't know. Have you heard the thing about, there's people that say that Sid didn't murder Nancy Spungen? That
what?
Drug. What do you think about? Yeah, there's apparently a violent guy that was there. He'd been convicted of several different violent crimes, who was hanging around with them at the time, and was Sid's pusher. And some people argue that Sid didn't actually kill her. What do you think about that?
It's a fucking drug house. I could believe he killed her. I could believe she killed herself.
Yeah.
Or somebody else.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility, but they're both dead.
What about Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain? Do you think
Courtney?
Courtney did it.
Courtney.
Allegedly,
I
but
think being married to Courtney would make me want to blow my face off.
you say she did it adjacently, like it wasn't her directly.
Yes.
Well, actually,
Did you guys?
I talked to the
Go ahead,
emergency nurse who claims she was there, and his face was fine. It was just the whole he didn't have
The back of his
backhand-
head,
the
yeah.
back,
Mm.
back wasn't. There.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Limitless with
maybe-
Luke Caverns. Did you? I don't know if you guys watched Luke Caverns. What is that?
Yeah. Johnny said so.
Sorry.
Didn't do it. That's right.
Matt Beal was saying that he was doing like all this research about it, and he got the exact same gun, the shotgun, and he's like, I tried, and it's like you have to. I can barely reach, and he's over 6 foot, and Kurt Cobain wasn't even. He was like 5'9" or something. He's like, I could barely reach and use the same exact gun to try to do the same thing. And it's like there's some weird. Courtney Love was doing like suicide notes and stuff. Like they cross-reference the writing.
Manipulative person. Like,
it seems like she did it.
Isn't it true also that she was not in his will and she didn't get anything if they divorced? And there was something I saw the other day, and it's the internet, so is it true? But yeah, that basically she had like if she had like 30 days or 90 days, and if he had divorced her, then she got nothing. So,
go on, take everything. Sorry.
I know nobody.
The whole song.
Yeah.
God damn it. You know what happened to her, dude? She like shot up to fame right after he died, became like a Hollywood darling, was an A-list actress for like 2 years, and then disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah. And now she's left the country. She left the country.
Did she? Well, her face is probably a flotation device, right? She's probably got a bunch of plastic surgery. What, Garrett? You know it's true.
That's true. It's most of the women back then. Yeah.
What is thinking, and you're next to Botox actress, you're going
grab on
your boobs in your face. Will be a flotation device.
This is not a sexual thing. I'm just trying to survive.
No, I'm just trying to survive. I'm really not sexually attracted to you in the least bit.
Yeah, and the sharks might not even want to eat you because it's like a lot of plastic.
Plastic, yeah.
All the plastic and rat poison.
Yeah.
All right. I want to show you something.
Show me. Oh.
Now we.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Well, there's a lot of debates, right?
Okay.
I mean, I get into debates with people. At least I used to all the time when I used to talk about Mars.
Just don't piss people off. That's all.
All right. And me not piss people off. Why do I even get up if I'm not going to piss off?
Well, I know you can try to piss me off. I won't get pissed off.
I hope not. I don't ever want to piss you off because
I don't get pissed off.
I mean, look, I'm not going to say that I love you, man. I'm not ever going to say
that's
that.
super.
But if I had to spend 10 years in a Turkish prison, I would want you to be my roommate.
Wow.
I will go that far.
You ugly.
Speaking of old. All right. So can you pull up?
That's an Art Bell connection.
Can you pull up the Vatican City presentation?
Oh yes, you were talking about this before the show.
Yeah. Now this is to me. This has got to be sort of the a litmus test, I guess, on artificiality. So there's a guy. His name is Neville Thompson. He's Scottish. And he does great work, because, I don't spend much time looking at pictures of Mars anymore or the moon or anything, because it's just kind of like, okay, I've got 500 things I can show you that are artificial on Mars, at least in my opinion. And I don't need to find any more. And I let other people find them. And then I say, wow, look at this.
I'm waiting for like Mars to get as good as Google Earth. I mean, you can
look
at it, Google Mars, and I can go look myself.
So
where's this picture from?
This is a guy put a video out about 5 years ago, Scott Waring, but he did not discover this. It was discovered by this Neville Thompson guy who's on a lot of Facebook groups like Mars, a Civilization Lost, and things like that. And he's just always posting these gigapans. So what he does is he gets these huge, massive, JP2 files, which is what the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is taking. And they're too big. There's different things you can use supposedly to open them and read them. And I can never get it to work, but I did go check this one out. So this video came out and it's very popular, but then when you actually get to the frame, go to the next slide. You actually get to the frame. I did go and I found this image, and unfortunately it's in my book, but I don't have I don't have the image number right now.
So that's where that picture is
That's
from.
where this picture is from. It's just, it looks like, it just from a distance, it just looks like, oh, there's a crater and there's, you know, a bunch of rocks and that's it. So if you keep going, you zoom up on it and you start to see this, and you can see this pattern. So what I think you're looking at here is like there's a massive mud flow that's gone on. If you look at those, the cliffs there, they're almost vertical. And then above that is this pattern, right? And you zoom in even further and you can see.
Matt, can you put that on this for blind man? Just for me, audience. I'm sorry, I'm disrupting the show.
Do we need a trip to Costco to
no,
get
my glasses cannot. I'm dying, Mike. Okay, I'm getting old.
I'm having a hard time seeing it from here too on that monitor. So
thanks, Matt. Everybody,
all right.
Round of applause for Matt Kadish from Salty Nerd Podcast in the chat. Okay, everybody applaud.
So
now we can't see it.
Knuckleheads today.
You look at this area.
And it definitely looks like a planned community. Well, okay.
I'm just going to tell you.
Could this be natural?
Nothing in this image is natural. Nothing. Everything that is all artificial. Those
because it looks cross. If you're listening at home, we're looking at a zoomed in picture that is next to what, like a meteor or a volcano?
Yeah. Well, next to there was a crater.
A crater. Okay.
Impact crater. But that, who knows when that happened? That may not have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
What it appears is that you've had this massive mudslide coming from the top of the picture, and down below, a lot of the mud and silt has receded, and you're exposing what's underneath. And I mean, those are all like city blocks. And at the top there, you see all those sort of blockish shaped things, and there's straight parallel lines. Again, this is all, those are buried buildings, right? And you're seeing part of them that have been exposed. And as you zoom up on this, maybe we go to the next frame. This, if you look at pictures of Berlin at the end of World War II or Hiroshima, it looks exactly like this. Can we go to the next slide?
That's definitely looks so. Again, for
and
those listening at home, it looks cross-hatched.
Yeah, it is, and it's
squares.
These
it's a bunch
are
of squares,
like cracks across. Yeah,
they're streets, but they're all walls. You can see if you look at it, they're raised. So these are foundations of buildings or streets or things like that. And see that kind of dome thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like a Capitol building.
I call that Vatican City. I call that because it looks like the dome at St. Peter's Basilica. That's why I call this Vatican.
So what's the scale on this? Like
the scale on this is exactly the scale of, guess what? Vatican City. That's a city block. That's a city block. Yep. Those are all buildings.
Total coincidence, everybody.
A city block. And then it, you can see it fades as again, there's other areas where there's more silt, and it kind of sags at the right side, and then at the bottom, it looks like that this was some sort of structure that is now sort of falling into the valley below, and something catastrophic happened on Mars. I mean, we got to get Randall.
Randall's gone over pictures of Mars.
Yeah, oh, has he?
And I couldn't tell you. I'll have to find the episode and I'll send it to you. But he showed evidence of catastrophic flooding.
Oh, of course there. Yeah, of course there was, and again that goes back to Hoagland's tidal ocean and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if we go to the next one, there's even more close up. So that's even closer. And mud and silt has filled in some of these areas, but let me just tell you, you keep looking at this and you keep seeing more and more stuff. I would say on a scale, the Capitol building with that domed area there is just about the same scale. So
that would be the most bizarre natural formation I've ever seen if it was natural.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
Well, there's no way it could.
It looks like a honeycomb, but it's city blocks.
So, Adam, am I impressing you or no?
Oh, I'm certainly capable of visualizing what a city would be here.
Hey,
He's not blind like me, Mike. Okay.
All right. And I don't know if there's another.
Hey, Adam can stare. Those pictures in the 90s and stare for things like he could find the shapes in those things.
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay.
I never could.
I wish I had a laser pointer because I could point it out, but the audience wouldn't be able to see it. But to me, it's just you can't argue that this is natural. You can't.
been to enough of your presentations. I've seen enough of other people's works.
Right.
And on Secure Team 10, he still occasionally puts out videos.
Yeah, they're good.
And he's done a ton of shit on this. And I'm not gonna say I believe every single one, but there's plenty on the moon, and Mars where like at least some of them you go, what the fuck? That's not even that there's no way that can be made in nature.
So I mean, what does it do? What does it do to your thought process? And I wish we had the cat on Mars, the air guitar playing cat on.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Oh, we did that last show.
All that is, but it looks like an air guitar playing cat.
I have no idea what it is, but
Yeah,
it's a
that's
65-foot tall air guitar playing cat on Mars.
Yeah.
So I see stuff like this, and it's like, okay, so now haven't we reached the point in the discussion where we're now just talking about what does this mean, as opposed to is this real? I mean, have I impressed you guys? X-Ray Girl, Black Garrett?
Anyone?
For me, it still looks. It doesn't look definitive to me. It looks like crack striations. Like we could see like across from north to south. There's in the actual land. There's lines like that, and then this looks like it's cracks long.
I think that's more of this stuff that's actually still buried, whereas this stuff's exposed.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you'd be crazy if this is if this is natural. I think the bigger question would be, what the fuck could make something like this? Because that would be a question of major catastrophe and water, maybe. Volcanism wouldn't do that. No.
Wind isn't going to do anything.
Wind isn't going to do that. It looks like fucking city blocks, but along with other stuff, the glass structures on the moon. Go through Secure Teams, guys. This is your homework. Go through Secure Teams videos and go look at all the fucking structures inside of craters.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Now could this all be? The thing is, though, fucking NASA is holding back much higher res version.
They are.
Yeah, I want to see a much higher res version of it. It is interesting. Like for sure, the formation of it is very weird. I just don't know if it's
Yeah. I'm just going to tell you, nature does not make checkerboard crosshatch patterns of equal proportion. Notice, Gary, notice the one, see in the lower left-hand corner, you can see that it's kind of broken off there. But see how those the four, there's like an outside square, and then there's one right down the middle and one right down the middle going the other way, but one of the legs is broken. But that's all proportional too. Okay, so if you're gonna have a natural formation, it's not going, the squares that are formed are not going to be proportional. They're going to be of different sizes. There's going to be randomness. I look at this, I don't see any randomness.
Yeah,
I see a lot of randomness. I said over here on the right side, there's big squares, there's small.
3D Google Maps with some sand on it.
Yeah.
that got devastated. I don't know. It looks cool.
Send it to your
buddy. It looks cool
Randall.
for sure.
It ain't right.
It's to your buddy Randall.
It ain't right. Whatever it is, it ain't right. And even if it is natural, then you're going to have to think about, like, did catastrophic flooding of an ocean that they said 20 years ago didn't exist?
Yep.
I have a question. What's the giant scar on Mars?
Oh, the Valles Marineris.
Valles Marineris.
Yeah, Marinara.
There's two theories.
The marinara
There's
sauce.
two theories on this, which are both really interesting. One is Graham Hancock, where he wrote a book called The Mars Mystery, which is, I don't agree with, 25% of it I disagree with, but 75 or 80% of it is really good. But he said, okay, it looks like something really big hit Mars in the ass end and made a new butthole for it. Which is called, what's the depression? I forget, but it goes in there. And if you look at that, if you were
there
to
is
say,
a giant depression.
Yeah, I forget the name of the crater, which, this is because I'm now older and I don't remember everything.
Shit flies out of
But
your
if
head.
you look at it's like you've got this huge bulge, the Tharsis bulge on the other end. So it looks like something came in and went into the planet, forced a bulge out this side, and then it split on the side. That's one theory, which could be it. The other theory is Hoagland's theory, that you had this tidal lock condition around this other large planet, this parent planet, Planet 5 or Phaeton or whatever it was, that you've got an ocean, a tidal bore. You've got an ocean on the planet side, facing side, and an ocean on the other side. And so because the planet is spinning, you will have this carving out process by water, right? And I tend to agree with that, although Graham could be correct with his theory. It makes a lot of sense also. But one of the predictions that Hoagland and I made in 2001 with the Mars tidal model paper is that if we're right, what you will find in Valles Marineris is salt left over from the salt water. Guess what they found?
They found salt
in Valles Marineris. So I think it was a tidal bore that formed that back and forth as long as the United States. So God,
so it wasn't tectonic plates or anything.
I don't think so, but I mean, I'm not as I just go with whatever makes the most sense to me from a
that thing is huge
logical perspective. Yeah, it's as wide across as the entire United States. And the other thing too is if you look at it like the Valles Marineris, you've got the little thin lines, and then in the middle it bulges out. Well, what's happening there? You've got tidal bores going both ways, and they collide, and then you have at 90 degrees you have sort of a vertical erosion, right? Let's assume that that's horizontal and that's vertical. So that makes sense too, if you look at it visually, that you've got these two tidal bores, one going one direction, one going the other way. They meet in the middle, and it carves out that circular area there from sideways erosion. So, God, it must have been a hell of a sight to see on that planet.
When it had water
or moon, when it had water, there's still water there. The water's pretty much still there. It's just all buried. And that's what those black streaks are. If you look, if there's all kinds of pictures of these dark surface streaks, which NASA says are dust. It's just colored dust, Gary. It's not water.
It's not water.
It just looks exactly like if you took a hose on some sand, or in Vegas here and sprayed it, and then it evaporates and they fade exactly the same way. But it's not water. It couldn't possibly be because it's Mars. So yeah, see the middle there where you could see the two tidal bores would hit right in the middle, and then they form this sort of floret looking thing as the water's pushed out to the sides. So it fits the description really, really well.
And how long ago? When was the last time it had an ocean?
Nobody knows.
4 billion?
No. No. This could have been a million years ago.
A million years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
That when they say, the thing is, you have to remember when they age stuff, when NASA ages stuff, or they use crater counts. Well, okay, because the idea is that there was all this crap in the solar system, right? And so stuff was always running into itself. So when you got Earth and Mars and the moon, you got all this stuff hitting, right? And so they go, well, so, 4 billion years ago, there was way more crap than there is now, right? So then that means that if there's way more craters here, this must be older. So when they look at Mars has these two distinct hemispheres. The lower one, which is kind of at an angle, is spattered with so many craters you can't even count them. So they're like, oh, that's the old surface. And then the northern surface, where Cydonia is and everything else, is much smoother. There's very few craters, right? So their assumption is, well, that's the older surface and this is the newer surface. Whereas I think it's probably actually flip-flop, because guess what? If planets explode and they spatter debris, even 1% of a planet the size of that planet V is proposed to be, and the other planet where the asteroid belt is, and they start spraying stuff all over the solar system, then you're going to get thousands of craters spattering Mars surface. And that's why the southern hemisphere with all the craters is thicker than the northern hemisphere, because it got glued on with all this crap hit Mars, and just really everybody had a really bad hair day on Mars. So
yeah, if Mars was a moon tidal locked to a bigger planet, then it would actually be in the location when that planet exploded. It would have been blasted,
right? And
because it was
the other
facing
thing too,
the planet.
Think about it like a tug of war. You ever done tug of war? Where you're pulling on that thing. If somebody lets go, what happens? You fall back, right? Immediately. That's your first reaction. So before this debris even got there, Mars tipped over like this, and that's why the hemisphere is not the perfect southern hemisphere. Because Mars snapped the connection. The gravity was broken first. This split second that Planet 5 exploded, and then all the debris was spattered on the bottom side. So it could have been, 65 million years ago. It could have been 4 billion years ago. Could have been 65 million years ago. Maybe that was some of the debris that killed the dinosaurs and vaporized Venus's surface. Or it could have
That
been
makes sense.
1 million years ago.
Yeah.
Could have been 200,000 years ago. We don't know. We just do not know.
So
And-
Chicxulub could have been just a big piece of that planet, Phaeton,
Yeah,
or whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to imagine that
Yeah.
something would do that to Mars and not like we wouldn't get any.
Well, the
Yeah.
entire
rays.
the entire
Yeah.
inner solar system would have had hell rain down upon it, like Maximus said in Gladiator.
yeah,
Unleash
Maybe
hell.
it did.
Yeah. So, it definitely could. That's why so many things, so much of what NASA says is based on assumptions, which are not validated in reality. You just don't, there's no way to prove
yeah.
that if planets explode, which they apparently do based on Dr. Van Flanderen's hypothesis and information.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, there's
Yeah.
molten lava and reactions going on in the middle, and little explosions
Well-
going on all the time, and it's really hot.
Yeah. And that also explains, like, if you think about the theory of the planets being fissioned off, right? Spun off of the sun as the sun loses momentum. And the spin energy, it can be so intense that life cannot form on a planet. That's why
Mhm.
you have to burn off the energy in order to sustain life. So if there is a God and he has a plan and he wants to make places where people can live, then he's got to definitely slow things down a little bit by depleting the energy. So if you look at all the planets, they're all on the plane of the ecliptic, the belly button
Yep.
of the sun. Now, if NASA's theory of planetary accretion is correct, planets should be orbiting all over the place like this, and they're not. So their theory, I think, pretty clearly is wrong, but they're just not willing to adapt to the new one. And you look at Tabby star, right? Remember the star? Oh, we don't understand. It's fading. It gets dim, and then it gets brighter, and then it gets dim, and it gets brighter. That's a star that's preparing to, I think, spin out a planet.
Okay,
And it would oblate at the poles like
so it's
this.
pregnant.
So
It's
yeah, it's
ovulating.
pregnant.
And then
And it's ovulating.
Just
and
smell.
that would
It's
explain the
They're
dimming.
contracting. It's contracting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it also explains these hot Jupiters. There's a thing called hot Jupiter, which is a giant Jupiter-sized planet that's like right next to the star, like closer than Mercury is to our own sun. How does that happen? Because everybody thinks that Jupiters, they form out beyond the frost line in the cold, right? And that's how you get a gas giant planet. Well, it makes complete sense if this thing has just been freshly spun off that star and is then slowly going to spiral out. But none of us are going to live long enough to be able to actually trace whether that planet
Mhm.
is spiraling away. But that's all we need. All we need is a single observation of something.
Who's
like
the
that.
father?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Well, most star systems are binary, right?
Yay.
Hey, oh God!
All right.
Don't
Well, that
say
means
it
there's
too
a dad.
loud.
I'm not talking about non-binary. I mean, there's a dad there, so maybe
Oh,
there's
yeah,
like
yeah.
star sperm.
Yeah.
Like he shoots his load and hits another
Oh.
star.
And then it births another
The lights
planet.
explode at him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Uranus.
I figured it out.
Uranus does not orbit at 60 degrees off the elliptical, just to correct you.
The Uranus.
Does not.
Hey,
Uranus.
what's the surface temperature of Mercury again? Is it cooler?
Well, it depends on which side you're on, the side that
well,
faces the
yeah.
sun or the side that's away from the sun.
Venus is insanely hot.
Yeah.
For like what lead just melts on the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hot. It's like 800 and some odd degrees or something like that. And the pressure is so crazy that it makes the horizon bend upward in a U shape, right? So we've only, Russians have landed there once or twice.
And got a couple of pictures.
And then of course, Shatner brought back that alien thing from Outer Limits, and
Yep.
that happened too. So
Well, it gets destroyed in the expanse and turned into a giant portal ring.
that's right. That's right. It gets destroyed by the what is it? The molecule,
Protomolecule.
Yeah. Well, Venus is kind of useless anyway at this
Well,
point.
Tom Jane was chasing this Asian girl who's really hot that the proto-molecule like put together. So
Yeah, I remember that.
So
Yeah,
he chose to die with her by crashing on Venus so it could become a portal gate.
that's
Everybody
right.
paying attention at home?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a very
Got it.
simplistic way of putting it. It's actually a really good story, but I just made it sound terrible. Black Snape for 1990. We're gonna go to super chats now. Thanks,
Soups.
everybody. Soups. Black Snape for 1999 in effeminate British accent. Why are you people talking about this? You're not even credentialed experts. I can't do British. Sorry. The science is settled, but in all seriousness, I love the show.
You're actually doing Richard Simmons there.
Thank you.
So.
Well, it's easier to list with my Invisalign in.
But you know what? You had the energy of Douglas.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got smoked by fucking Dave Smith.
Dude.
Now, you know,
Dude.
I can't do British, but I can do David Hatcher Childress.
You can? Okay, let's hear it.
Why are there giant granite balls everywhere on this island? There's balls in the mountains. There's balls on the beaches. There's giant granite balls everywhere. There are literally balls. So many balls that you can't even count them. I've actually heard him do this presentation.
No, I've heard it. He's all, there's balls in front of Target.
Now, how did those balls
Those could be part of it.
Could it be? I don't know. Some kind of alien from the sky? How was that? I think.
What is his accent?
I don't know. It's Midwestern.
It's
like
Midwestern,
Illinois, Kempton,
like,
Illinois.
He's from Colorado, but
Yeah.
it's like he got like a Midwestern Boston accent. Got
It's
kind of
funny.
like
It's funny as
infused.
hell. The problem is that I do this impersonation. Like I spent last weekend with him in LA, right? He was there. You know, he's my publisher, and we were just talking. And it's like the problem is that when I'm around him, I keep talking like this. I'm talking in his voice.
I would just make him say words like "say kind,"
Yeah.
coined.
Coined. K-O-I-N-D. Just K-O-I-N-D. So
Yeah. No, David, he's great. He doesn't. Well, probably because he's a big time publisher. I liked when he did lectures and stuff. He just didn't do a ton of them.
Yeah, he did one. He did one in LA. It was quite good.
Oh, good.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
always go see. He's great.
He's
the guy who turned me on to Keystone cuts. These Keystone cuts, they're everywhere. You know, and I saw one in Peru for the first time.
For me, it was giant granite balls.
Giant granite.
And,
Oh, yes.
that was in Edinburgh, Texas, at the Edinburgh UFO Festival. Giant balls.
And Costa Rica has the sphere.
yeah, and they're not all granite. Some of them are something else.
Yeah,
but nobody knows how they made those balls.
but some of them are like perfect balls. They're
Yeah.
like perfect balls. Kind of like,
Why are you gay?
The type that form planets.
for $20. Hang on, where'd I go? Okay, Quantum Sledgehammer says, question for the group, especially Mike: if the powers that be have proof or eventually find proof or of current or ancient intelligence, alien life, should they tell the public or keep it secret? What would how would the public take it? How do you think the public would take it?
Well,
Which, if it was in your hands,
yeah,
would you tell them?
yeah, it's time to tell them. I mean, now, that's what they were afraid of in 1958 and 60. That's what the Brookings Report was about. It basically says you're not going to probably run into ET, but you might find artifacts on Mars or the moon or Venus. That was before we knew what Venus really was like. And it says, people will go crazy. Engineers and scientists will go crazy. The general public will go crazy. The religious people will get electrified. So, the whole War of the Worlds thing. And they cite that specifically in there. And that was probably true in 1958 when that study was commissioned for NASA. But I don't think it's true anymore. And it actually says in there that you can't tell people this without a program of appropriate conditioning. And that after 60 years of Star Trek and The Expanse and all even stuff like Communion and Close Encounters and Lost in Space and stuff, it's probably, I think we've reached a point where most of us would be okay. But I think what they want is they don't want to say it or admit it until they reach the point where it's there's aliens, and you see Homer Simpson sitting on the couch. Oh, there's aliens, burps, drinks another sip of his beer, right? That's how they want people to react to it.
I feel like we're there.
I think we're
It's like
close.
where we are. Yeah.
I think we're really close. But then I had another thought, which is, if you look at all this stuff with aliens, why are there these alien hearings? Why did New York Times and Washington Post and all these other outlets that I don't trust, why did they start suddenly making a big deal about aliens right after Trump took office in 2017? And I do think it's because there is an agenda down the road a little bit after we get through a bunch of other stuff to talk about aliens. I just think that's about ready to happen, but maybe in the next 5 years.
I hope so. But if they come out, we've talked about this before. If they come out and say it and it comes from the government, half the country's not going to believe it.
Well, they shouldn't. And
they
because
shouldn't.
it's going to be whatever narrative the government thinks is what you should hear.
I mean, we even like even the people involved in that. That's why it's like, Grush has even mentioned like military industrial,
Right.
Like, so when he's saying it, I think that's bad. I think it's very bad.
That's the thing. I don't want disclosure. I want exposure.
Yes,
Okay.
that's a very good
because
way.
Disclosure is a government narrative.
Yeah.
Exposure is
New
just
T-shirt.
what it is.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Sell that T-shirt, and it's a fucking UFO.
Yeah.
Fuck their.
By the way, extraordinary
relabeling.
claims that require extraordinary proof is also a T-shirt slogan, not a scientific axiom. Carl Sagan, just so you know.
There you go. There you go. Sorry, I'm reading super chats off my phone, and it's.
Please don't read the super insulting one.
Should get an iPad for you.
Oh, always come to me.
To do
So
that.
don't worry about it. Why would I get an iPad? Apples are gay.
Or a tablet of some kind, so you could read it that way. It'd be easier.
I'll bring an iPad.
I didn't have
come
one.
down.
I know you lost that phone that you had that you
Yeah, the
loved.
nice
Oh
big
my god,
screen.
a fold?
Why don't you get another one of those, the big open flippy thing? Because I stood next to you and the text was massive on that thing. I remember.
I'll get another Z fold. Probably you're right. I should. That thing was handy, and you could watch cool movies on it in a plane. Kelly on the second, a rant for $20 says, "Hail Gary, I have good news. I might have to skip. Skip the name Denethor and go straight to Faramir in case you don't get it. It's Mrs. Achthelion is pregnant. Oh, yeah. You really want to name your kid Faramir? Go look at all the. You know what? The best Lord of the Rings. By the way, congratulations.
Faramir didn't fare very well.
No,
did he?
Dude, the best Lord of the Rings memes.
One of the best characters
are the Denethor memes about like, Faramir says, "I killed 3 elves." He's all, Boromir would have killed 4.
Yeah, he would have killed more than that.
Boromir would have done more. It's.
Does that make you Denethor out there, right? So yeah,
The best one is. No one has a favorite child, and there's a picture of Boromir, and it's like there's a little picture of Faramir.
Faramir's awesome, man. He's so good. He denied the ring. Top tier.
Yeah,
he was a little
true.
sleepy.
They changed him from the book. Yeah, because
Let's be honest.
I'm fine with it though. I thought he was good.
Well, why didn't he end up with the princess girl, the Gondor daughter? Did he?
Does.
Did he?
Yeah,
Yes,
in the
he
extended
does.
in the extended version.
does.
Oh, okay.
He ends up with her, but he's a basically a pupil of Gandalf in the books.
Oh,
yeah, and that's why they left
change.
a lot of the magic-y stuff out. Denethor and the Planetary.
Yeah,
they left that out too. Brent Wolf for $20 says, saw a story recently about a massive chunk of Denisovan jaw fossil discovered on or near Taiwan. Ooh, that's a long way from Siberia. Pretty sure the only other Denisovan parts were small chunks of teeth in Siberia, right? Correct. Could you look that up?
Yeah, let me see.
That's crazy. Or maybe it's something else. Denisovan or Denisovan? What's a better pronunciation?
I like Denisovan, don't you?
I do too.
It sounds better.
Yeah, Denisovan.
Yeah.
Denisovan is so British.
Yeah,
It
I don't
is.
like it.
I don't like it either. The only term I like is aluminium. I think that's way better.
Okay, it's spelled aluminum though.
Wow. Oh,
The Brits try to change the spelling to make it aluminium, but it really
they put a bunch of unnecessary U's and shit, and their food is god awful.
Vowels that aren't
Extra vowels,
Yeah.
and
not necessary.
they're really good at not taking care of business and not being. Oh, I'll worry about that guy with the machete later after he's stabbing me. It's not my problem until then. Why bother? Everything's gonna suck it. That's Disparew's attitude. Why bother? It's all gonna suck anyway. Look at that. That is a piece of a jaw.
Denisovan jawbone helps to reveal appearance of ancient human species. It is in Taiwan, off the coast of Taiwan.
Holy shit. So they were all over the place. I don't think that should probably be surprising at all, do you?
Yeah, I think we're gonna find. You think we're gonna find that all different types of humans have been everywhere at one time or another?
Yes. Yes.
All over the place.
Zorbu for $20 on the Streamlabs side says, indeed, Mike Bear's tattoo of me is on his arm. It's flattering. Quarter Earthling's tattoo of me on his lower back, not so much.
It's just a Zorg
I didn't get
enter
that.
here.
I didn't put that on myself. He put it on me.
He tagged you, dude.
I was knocked out, bro.
You're branded. Logan Miller has gifted 5 Nerdrotic Live memberships for $25. Thank you, Logan Miller. Forest Through the Trees for 20. Says Adam. Okay. I got to read it though. So just take it easy, Adam.
It's mean.
Adam, was that butthurt response earlier from Mike busting your chops? I hope not, but if so, show some credentials and check your ego. I like you, but Mike is on another level. You're turning off the audience. Okay, you're allowed to say what you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Adam will listen, but
that is not my girlfriend that posted that, by the way. I want people to know.
Are you sure about
up to that?
Well, I just
Squad's here.
you said that story a few times the last time you were on the show about your former boss, and I know why you were saying it, and it was just like I know come on.
I wasn't trying to bust your chops. I was just saying it's harder for some people to see.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's fine.
Oh God.
Like I said, the 90s things, I couldn't fucking see that shit for anything. I got an Enterprise one. I never saw the fucking Enterprise one, so I was so pissed. I don't think I'm a moron.
Let's just move on.
The rest of the audience does, but I don't. Okay, Quad TV for $5. It's all good. Love me some Big Mike Bara. Best guest so far. There you go. Flawed TV. There you go.
Flawed boy.
$10 says Gary, you're always interested in what we are doing while listening to you guys. From bathing or reproducing. Today I'm splitting firewood for the next year. Oh, that's good. That's good.
manly activities?
No, I'm not gonna
doing the Bill Shatner thing. Doing Captain Kirk from Star Trek Generation.
Reproduces while they're watching the show.
You never know, man. People into a lot of kinky stuff.
Making eggs too. He was always doing something manly. And
yeah, but my question is, were those Caffarian eggs or?
That's a good question.
But they were pretty big.
William Shatner is like, I always want to be doing something domestic or manly. I want to be riding my horse, chopping wood, or making eggs.
Well, that's a thirst trap. That's like if you make videos on TikTok of you cooking, that girls really do.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why.
Why? Because
that's why they have Captain Pike cooking.
Because it shows that like a guy could do what's traditionally thought to be not a guy thing. Although making fucking eggs is the easiest fucking thing on the planet.
Well, I made them this morning, right?
There you go.
But that's why they have Anson Mount always cooking on Star Trek.
Yeah.
What's your nickname for it? Star Trek. We suck less than the previous Star Treks.
I don't have a nickname for it. There's STD.
Yeah, STD.
That's strange. Strange New Worlds. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Anson Mount's a fucking retard.
He is a retard. But that's why they have him cook. Like he's constantly cooking on that show. Not that I've watched season 3.
Well, it's a straight man, so they have to put him in as many feminine positions as possible.
I just think he needs to wear an apron with no underwear.
I think they'd prefer that. I think
that would
Is Kurtzman gay?
Strange New Worlds.
I think so. If you watch his interviews, man,
Matt says no.
My radar's going off.
Matt's radar is better than
Gaydar is going off.
He said no. I don't know. I kind of thought he was too.
Listen to his interviews.
I think he's just asexual. I don't think he's.
Maybe
he's just from LA. That might just be it. Just an LA guy.
Logan Miller for $10 says bromance in prison isn't bromance, it's love. Tell him, Gary. Well, I mean, that's kind of true. Total Recall showed me the importance of having 3 hands on Mars. Nick the Greek for $4.99.
That's right.
I want to watch that every time I talk to Mike or hear about Mike. I want to watch that movie.
That was formative, man.
Below the pyramid, there's a giant heater that's gonna like release the frozen atmosphere. Like in instantly.
Talking about the Great Pyramids or the ones on Mars?
The ones on Mars.
The ones on Mars.
Sorry, I need to be specific. Drink UP has gifted one Nerdrotic Live membership for $5. Thank you. Stewie Felt for $5 says digging in Europe is a dangerous proposition. 2 world wars worth of unexploded ordinances everywhere. Yeah.
No kidding.
It'd be like Tropic Thunder, like walking around in the jungle.
Yeah, like what was the movie 5 Million Years to Earth, Quatermass in the Pit? I was watching a thing about that yesterday, and that was a common thing. I was like, we'd like something up. Oh, it must be unexploded ordnance from one of the different wars we've had here in Britain.
Well, they have a whole thing in the UK, right? UK people, they have like pamphlets, and they used to like be careful going out in the countryside and
Yeah.
don't dig shit up. And
They still do.
yeah.
Still find that stuff.
Thank you, Stewie. Raukau, I can't even say that, for 75 UYUs. Egyptians found thank you, by the way. Egyptians found something that scared them shitless. They built pyramids as a lid, a crock to cover and prevent whatever they found from it getting loose. They dug too greedily and too deep. It's a Balrog. But it's the one from Rings of Power. So he'll wake up for like a few minutes, maybe kill one dwarf and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Totally
Just a little midnight snack.
Yeah, a little midnight snack. Mod Eric for $1 says, anyone think under the pyramids could be a big spiral staircase instead of coils?
That's what I thought. Like, if it's anything, it could be that. It could just be a staircase going down to whatever chamber they have down there. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Udite for $5 says, the Hindu Yuga system of time lists humans having 10 lifespans in the past, 5,100-ish years ago. Longer lifespans. Well, they wrote about it a lot in not just the Bible.
Yeah.
Andrew Matthews for £2 proper money. Was there giant geckos in the past?
Why
It's like
not?
dinosaurs, essentially, at that rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Geckos would be dinosaurs. But I'm not saying that Nick Pope is the Geico gecko. I'm just saying I've never seen Nick Pope and the Geico gecko in the same.
I haven't either.
This is a good point.
That's a very
Geckos are scary.
that'd be a funny video.
Oh, have you ever heard his Q impersonation? I had him. We were at Roswell a couple years ago, and I had him do. Now listen carefully, Mr. Bond, or now listen carefully, 007. You look at him and you're thinking he's perfect.
He would be.
He would be great. He just did a documentary where it's basically him just talking, and it was great. It was fantastic. It was kind of breaking down like what he thinks disclosure is.
Well,
I think it was just disclosure 101 for normies.
He needs to give up on the Calvine UFO photo though, because that's a tip of a mountain in Scotland. By the way, I have the weather report.
There you go. Jose Taco on the Streamlabs side for $1 says, can you have Dr. Dan Biddle? He was on Jimmy Church to talk about Nephilim and giants in the U.S. and how the Indians have stories from different tribes throughout the U.S. Yeah, I talk. Giants is my favorite subject. Giants, Nephilim.
Do you think that some Bigfoot sightings were actually like the old Indian Bigfoot sightings were actually like Nephilim?
Maybe.
I mean, but don't you kind of think that the last of the Nephilim was probably Goliath? These guys, they were just workers, right? They come here. And the king goes home and they're like, you know what? Screw this. I can be a king here on Earth instead of being a ditch digger on Baru. I'm going to stay here and be a king. And then they slowly all died out.
I think they died out slowly and got smaller.
Yeah.
I think he was probably the last giant.
Yeah.
But like when I'm talking about giants, like here in America, like 8 feet would be considered a giant.
Yeah. Well, Shaquille O'Neal would be a giant, but hell, we'd be giants. In certain,
but I think there were like
7,000 years ago.
Okay, I think there's a possibility there was a bigger size of humanoid,
right,
or hominid, maybe prior to the Younger Dryas, and then maybe they died out slowly over the course of 4,000 years afterwards, and there was pockets of them, and they turned cannibalistic and crazy. Maybe had red hair, maybe had 6 digits.
Red-haired giant cannibal Scotsman wearing kilts. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's the only thing you're missing is giant.
That's a movie.
Okay.
That's a
believe
movie.
the Scotsman doing all of those things.
Yeah, that's going to be in the new Highlander 3.
Could you imagine the kilts though? You'd see right up.
That's right, Henry Cavill.
Right?
Who do you think should be the next James Bond? I mean, it doesn't have to be Cavill. Who else could it?
I think Aaron Taylor Johnson would be fine.
He would be actually really good. Watch Bullet Train. He's pretty good.
I think he'd do a good job.
That was an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
I liked Bullet Train. It was fun.
It's a good movie.
I loved it when that chick got hit by the car at the end. That was fucking great.
Oh yeah.
Obnoxious bitch. The dead man for $5. Remember what Lazar said? The tech was from archaeological dig. Yes, he said one ship was from an archaeological dig. He did. What if that dig was not on Earth? Ooh,
The moon. Dun, dun, dun.
Or Mars.
Or Mars.
They went to Mars. Didn't even tell us. I believe it.
Maximus Rabidus.
Yes.
For $1.99 says, my dudes, 2 words, space mining. Elon is after that. Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, say we
Psych
get the
16.
technology. I've talked about this before, but say we get the technology to like pull down an entire fucking asteroid that's all fucking platinum or whatever the fuck
Helium-3 or platinum. Yeah,
Helium
well, it's
3.
going to screw up the market.
It will destroy the market.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. If it's all
But
gold.
it would help technology though, because
It
like
would.
if it's a bunch
It
of gold,
would.
like we'd have
But it's not
material
it's
forever.
not a-
So
it's
it-
not about bringing that stuff back to Earth, though. It's about having that material in space already to then build spacecraft
Great
and
point.
things
Yeah.
that we would be able to use out there. Because most of the problem is getting the material from Earth into space. If it's already there, we build it. There's companies that are making 3D printers in space that actually have like their own like systems to just 3D
No,
print
I
shit
think
in
like,
space.
Yeah.
it would flood the market, but then eventually you'd have a Belter situation.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. It's
Right.
like, well, I mean, what's going to happen if they, when they open Fort Knox, we got 2 scenarios, right? We've got Geraldo Al Capone vaults.
which
Yep.
is likely.
That's
or
what I'm
we
thinking.
open it up and there's 100,000 metric tons in there or something, and then the price. What does that do to the price of gold?
Yeah.
It shockwaves in the entire financial markets, unless we just say, well, by the way, also we're going to, instead of $44 an ounce is what we value our gold at right now that we supposedly have in Fort Knox. If we said, oh, well, we're just going to go with the current market price as the value. So it's going to be $3,100 and we have 10,000 or 100,000 metric tons. Guess what? National debt's paid off.
There you go. We just paid off our own debt.
That's paid
Yeah,
off.
look at that. But I think it's the other thing. I think it's probably empty.
Calm Caress Asmers donated $1. Thank you very much. John Kennedy, he's not dead.
Yeah,
he donated $5.
There's some veteran that Trump hugged one time, and Phil Godlewski and some other people are like, "Oh, it's John F. Kennedy. He survived." I'm like, he survived? Have you seen the Zapruder film,
dude?
I mean,
well, he'd be. How old would he be?
Well, he would been about 103, and there was this guy. There was this guy that
and
Trump
he would have
hugged.
no head.
Yeah, and he would have no
well,
head.
that too.
And there was this guy Trump hugged at some ceremony in like 2018 or 2019, and he did look like JFK might look at 103 years old, and he was 103. He was a World War II veteran, but I don't know. I mean, look, body doubles. I don't think it was a body double. It definitely appears to be JFK in that car. So clones, maybe this guy was cloned from, but. I mean, you have everybody.
They had plenty of DNA from his head.
Clint Hill said, I looked, down and I saw the wound and he had no brains left. And the technicians and then, they all say, no, his brains were blown out. He was dead. So, yeah, but that's one that's floating around out there. Take a look at the picture. It's weird.
The autopsy pictures are out there.
Oh, yeah.
You ever go to rotten.com, Garrett?
Don't make me look at, rotten.com.
It's old school, man.
Yeah, that's old school
site.
Internet. John Kennedy, who has no brains, for $5 says, how do you think the underground Martians will react to seeing Elon's Terminator patrolling the surface? Not well.
No.
But you know what? Like, not well, but since they're so far away from us, I kind of want to be a fly in a spacesuit on Mars to watch the battle go down. I think that'd be fucking great.
Interplanetary war.
Yep. Giles McCoy for $5. While going through USMC Scout Sniper School during observation training, we learned a rule. There are no straight lines in nature.
Well, yeah. What's also the line from Prometheus? God does not operate in straight lines, or God doesn't make straight lines. It's true, I think, in general. It does sometimes, but rarely.
All right. Dent Masterson says, hey, Gary, did you give QBG the raise he asked for? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll talk about it later.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, seriously, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call about it.
Yeah, totally. Give me a call.
I'll call you
later. Yeah. Eric K says everyone knows Garrett simulates visits from Zorbu often.
why you like this?
Why do you like it, Garrett?
I said, why you like this?
JPP, has gifted one Nerdrotic membership for $5. I read that one. There's a bunch that are still there.
Is it not updating? Because it's totally.
Johnny said Sid didn't do it.
That's true. Johnny.
Yeah, he did.
Has said Sid. He doesn't think Sid did it either.
Well, they said like he didn't have it in him. Like he wasn't.
He wasn't a violent person.
He wasn't a violent person.
There's that one thing in Nashville where the song ends and this guy's harassing Sid, and you see him pick up. You see the silhouette of it, bam, with the bass right on top of the guy.
Which he could have easily killed a dude.
That was pretty fucking classic. Yeah.
Scott Christy Jones says FNT London attendees have all met a Mason. Our baby is due when you're over, so unlikely we'll see you. What, having a baby is not a fucking excuse to not show up to a meetup. I don't know.
Come on. Get over that.
Pregnant
it's
ass
a couple
over
days
there.
from now, right?
Yeah,
it's like Thursday or something. Just show up.
Unlikely we'll see you in Oxford or Bath. Unfortunately, X. Scott, I think that's a weak excuse.
Yeah, come on.
I do.
My dad
got a baby.
Yeah. My dad went to work the next day back in the old days.
Melissa had a cesarean and was back to work in fucking 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't come. I'm just kidding. And congratulations. Is that it, X-Ray Girl? You get the rest.
No, it didn't update for some reason. Jimmy Collins says, Gary, did you read the copy of The Haunted Mesa I sent you yet? You're gonna love it.
Not yet.
The Haunted Mesa.
Phonic Photon for 5 Australian. Someone is neglecting the Saturn Venus Mars conjunction theory by David Talbot, Anthony Pratt, and the Electric Universe peeps.
The Electric Universe is interesting.
It is an interesting book. It has a lot of interesting ideas and these alignments. When you have alignments of planets, it does affect physical reality. There's been experiments. Hoagland's done experiments. So, and it also affects your mental and emotional state, obviously. So, just ask any waitress about full moons and they'll tell you. So,
medical.
There is this
or ER technician
basis. It does have a technological, or not a technological, but a physical basis on all these alignments. And the gas giant planets, for instance, have a much larger influence on people's behavior than anybody would want to accept. Especially Uranus.
What do we got left?
Singing Tigs for 5 says, you've never been to Mars, so you're an expert. You collect comic books and talk of pop culture and now archaeology. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never been an archaeologist.
Well, what I will say about the people who study Mars, who you think are experts, is that they are almost with unanimity either one of two disciplines. They are either astronomers or they're geologists, which means they either look through telescopes at stars or they look at rocks. Okay. I'm a structural engineer and I know structure when I see it. And I know it a lot better than guys who study rocks and guys who look through telescopes at stars. So,
they're fighting that out.
By the way, is there a credential for extraterrestrial archeology? Because if there is, I should have one.
You should
we should get that going.
They have underwater archaeology, but the thing is, you got to go there.
Yeah,
because according to Douglas Murray, that's a mean.
Well, you just can't.
Because you didn't go there, you can't talk about anything.
You can't just
place you've never been.
You can't just look at.
Did you see the video of someone splicing him lecturing Dave, but it's him lecturing himself? And the other version of him is another interview that he did where he's like, no one's going to tell me I'm not allowed to talk about anything. And it's like they put it perfectly together where he's arguing two sides of the argument. And it's glorious.
Yep.
It's so funny. You got to try to be consistent.
You got to.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, X-Ray, go.
Corn Pop for $4 says, Nerdrotic, can you see my balls? Read more, X-Ray, I'm blocked. That's rich.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Corn pop.
Corn pop. It's a wild guy, you know.
You're a wild guy.
Gollum's half botched circumcision leftover for 10,000 PYGs says, "Boy, I'm drunk."
Thank
Is that
you.
how you got circumcised?
Yeah. Did you do it to
botched.
yourself?
Wow.
It's half botched.
Logan Miller for $10 says, "Hail chat, Mike, URG. As a side note, pool boys are gay for real." Okay.
All right.
I agree with that.
I have no comment.
Douglas Shepard for 2 says, "Did President IKE know and meet with aliens?"
Oh, President Ike.
Ike?
Well, I know
Oh,
Laura.
Ike. It was
Ike,
Eisenhower.
Yeah, Eisenhower. I know Laura
okay.
pretty well. I do a show with Laura on Monday afternoons.
Laura Eisenhower. Yeah, she's like
And,
his great niece,
She's great granddaughter.
great granddaughter.
Of,
Okay.
of
Mm.
Ike. And yeah, and she swears up and down that he did, and it's sort of a family myth. She says one of those things that, oh well, your grandfather met with aliens, that kind of thing. So
He also warned about the military
Ike.
industrial complex.
He did.
Man.
He did
He did.
after
haven't-
winning
I
us a
like-
war.
My dad, from my dad. I have an I like Ike button.
Really? Oh, dude, that's so cool.
Ooh.
I like Ike a lot. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
My first school was named after him.
There you go. Then they
That's
changed
cool.
it and made it Umbatu Elementary School or whatever they do. George Floyd.
Yeah, they erased the past.
Umlungu.
Swirling Abyss for $2 says Laptus. And Gardner Goldsmith for 20 says, "Hi, Gary.
Hi.
This is that Star Trek Voyager script department guy here. Punk
Yeah.
libertarian vibes. Thanks. Been getting over sickness. Gonna start a Rumble channel on writing TV, movies, and you guys really
Oh,
helped
good.
energize. We'll be in touch."
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Good luck, man.
ivermectin, dude. If you're sick, get on some ivermectin. It'll clear up right away.
There you go.
It does work. Yeah.
I'm gonna next time I get sick, I'm using that shit
It's amazing.
for sure.
Forest Through the Trees for $5. With all the talk about space, has anyone brought up that portal that attempts to keep opening over X-Ray Girl's right shoulder? You're stuck.
Apparently it doesn't want her because
Yeah,
it's
it just keeps closing up.
Yeah.
It freaked me out when I first saw it on, I think, FNT. I was like, I thought it was something with my screen. I'm like,
No.
oh shit! Like, did my
This is-
screen break?
This is just
No.
my attempt at decorating. It's
You should put a light on the wall.
It looks like
You're like, look, it's great.
it's
I
a
was
nice
gonna
light.
say, it looked like
Yeah.
a streamer
right?
going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I got a
Fever.
God, what an awful movie that was. Jesus.
I
Yeah.
watch it because of the ship porn. God damn, it's so good. The ship
Oh,
porn in that.
yeah. But wow,
The porn of ship.
the Klingon ships look great.
They fucking do.
Oh, yeah.
And the music was
Birds of prey.
Gary got ship porn while shopping with Kara and I. He got, I think, at least 2.
Yeah, I did. I bought 2.
They're really cool.
They're good. They're hanging from my
Models?
suit.
Get your
No,
models.
no, just the scaled down Enterprise refit from Motion Picture, and then an Enterprise refit fucked up by Khan from Wrath of Khan.
Oh,
It's a
sweet.
battle damage one.
Nice.
That's my favorite
And-
ship refit. The A.
This is the last one so far. Swirling Abyss for 2 says, "No, Lapidus, the moon of Saturn."
Iapetus.
Iapetus. I'm so
I-
sorry. It's hard to see
Iapetus.
L and I.
No, it's an I, not an L. It's an easy thing to not notice. Iapetus is bizarre because if you look at the horizon, it should be spherical. It should be rounded, but it's like geometric. It's all these equally spaced straight lines. It's a dodecahedron. It's an artificial
weird.
something. And Hoagland went on into it, and it's like you look at the pictures, you're like, holy crap! There's 2 or 3 different source pictures, some of whom which have been doctored now. But his original pictures he pulled off the NASA website of I forget which probe it was, might have been Galileo that took these pictures of. No, it wasn't Galileo, but took pictures of it, and it's a geometric shape. It's like
Kind
a
of looks
fake
like the
moon.
Death Star
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, it's a fake
this
moon.
picture.
Yeah, yeah.
It has like a seam. There's a
It's
taint
black.
on this moon.
Well, right, and there's a like a line running around the middle, which
Yeah.
says, "Oh, that was formed by radiation."
What?
Huh?
What's a sand? What the fuck?
How does radiation do that?
That's one of those that are just like, radiation. Radiation did it.
Radiation made that happen. So there's just like this lip around. It looks like two halves of a walnut, clamped together.
Yeah, it's
and
weird.
half of it is pitch black, which is soot from the explosion of a nearby planet, I would say. And then the other half is pure white, like snow. So
That's cool.
it's a weird freaking place. And you can even see it on the picture on the right. You can even see sort of the straight lines at the top. If you go to the very top of the object. Yeah, like right there. There's like straight line. And
So
Hoagland,
strange.
I think, sorted out that it was a dodecahedron shape. So that is one that's hard to explain.
The stain is really interesting. Like you were saying, like it does look like there was something that just like on the side of the planet.
Soot, yeah, like it got spattered
moon.
with soot or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting. Jim Stone, one more X-ray.
Yes. For 5 says, any of you listen to the Bobbyverse books on Audible? Highly recommended sci-fi series. Okay.
I don't know.
I'll add that to my list. There's so many.
No, I haven't. Sorry.
If I wasn't sitting here, you would have kicked me out by now, wouldn't you?
No.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Well,
Hey,
usually you guys.
Dude,
do
we
your
had a
stuff.
guy pull out his dick on a fucking live stream. Don't even worry about it. You had nothing.
Seriously?
Yeah. Kevin
yeah, that did
Oh my
happen.
God.
Kevin McGinnis pulled out his fucking dick
Well,
on a live stream.
Nobody has to worry about that today. But
I mean, I might, but
you're kidding.
I won't put it out. No, I'm not kidding.
No.
I was British. I would say something along the lines of that is unprofessional behavior.
It is.
Inappropriate.
American, so you go. That's what you
It was really hard to see because it was
Yeah.
so small.
Whose
though,
fault
so-
was it? Who made him do that?
do.
He made
it.
himself.
It was
Bro, his own
fault.
brain. It's because he lost an argument. The whole time he tried to build up this argument against nerds, saying that we're like all losers. But then we went around and each one of us have businesses, have families, successful people. And he was like, pants coming off. Like,
It was Adam who took him down, wasn't it? Come on, you guys.
Yeah.
No,
Adam
but
to-
I think it felt like he was
Stop.
taking the argument well. What he was doing was he was trying to play devil's advocate and kind of shit on nerd culture, like on a nerd show.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
but I think he was doing it in his Gavin McGinnis way,
Okay.
to kind of get a reaction to make you think. 'Cause he doesn't feel that way. He fucking wrote comic books.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he doesn't feel that way. So what he did was he asked us all, like, what do you do for a living? Do you own a home? Do you have kids? And like all of us answered like, we're totally normal people, just like everybody in the audience.
Right.
We're not like basement dwellers or incels or anything.
Well, I guess now everybody else on the show found out what it's like to be in X-Ray's DMs, right?
right. Yeah.
Oh
we did.
my god.
Gotta be all the time.
That must be what
I
you
just
face
assume-
every day.
I just assume that's every girl's DM on the internet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I found the comic, by the way, and I bought it. It's called Race for the Moon #2.
Okay.
You ordered
Race for the Moon #2
I'm not
by Bill
surprised.
Simon and Jack Kirby. It's a 5-page like
Nice.
comic, and yeah, it's got the face on Mars and everything. There's a bunch
Yeah, there's
of
like a couple episodes in there, and there's another one about Jupiter. There's like the origin of Jupiter's great red spot and stuff, and there's like a war between these different.
so the price range I saw for the audience is between $40 and $80.
And have you ever looked at the Tom Corded Space Cadet Viewmaster?
Yes.
Real thing.
Yes.
That's like freaky too. That's so freaky.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Like they knew stuff. They knew shit.
They
back
did.
then. They knew shit in the
Randall's even brought that. Randall Carlson's brought that up in the past. So yeah. All right. That's it. Matt needs to go home. How do you do this?
Thank you, Matt.
We're the best people you ever work with. I mean, besides your own podcast, right? Totally. He's not. He's like, I'm not gonna answer that.
Shout out to Kaddish, the salty nerd.
Yeah.
Shout out to Salty
Hell
Nerd.
yeah.
Shout out to Podcaster Studios, available to rent. And soon it will be fully operational, fully functional. Well, I mean, you could still do shit here, anything you need to do here, but they're adding on something that's fucking nice.
Security?
They add
More
security.
Oh, it's
security.
too soon, bro. Too soon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ouch. Adam, that was funny. I'd have said that. You beat me to it. No, they're gonna. You're gonna be able to record. It's fully functional. In other words, you can do podcasts. You can shoot videos.
Ooh.
And there's another podcast like Lounge that's coming up. They have Green Room.
Oh, yeah.
It's a full service. It's what Sticky Paws used to be. That's where we used to do FNT, but they're gone. But it's
Are they?
better.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
No, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt's our bro. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, if you're in Vegas and you want to do some podcasting and stuff and you need a place, this is the place. This is it. What do you got coming up, Adam?
Yep, just doing my show. Base Staff Monday, every Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just kind of ranting about what's going on, and then Friday nights I jam out, play some music on this guitar behind me. Yeah, check it out.
Right on. How about you, Garrett?
Go check out our video on the main channel if you haven't already. It's about a horrible movie called G20, where Michelle Obama kicks men's asses, and she's tough. And in sneakers, by the way. Sneakers. Also, I'm going to be hitting the road because I'm driving to Vegas. Can't wait, dude. It's going to be so much fun. And can't wait to see everybody that goes. And if you didn't,
Yeah, a couple days.
sucks to suck, I guess. I don't know.
What? If you can't make it?
Yeah, if you can't make it, it's,
You say too fucking bad. To
yeah,
anybody?
too bad. Too bad.
Wow.
Wow.
Get that FOMO in.
What time you getting here? Tuesday evening or
Tuesday evening, I think. Well,
Okay.
no, wait. Wednesday afternoon. Yes. Yeah.
Cool beans.
Because I'm bringing my wife. My wife's coming.
All right, cool, good.
Yeah. She can't
Good.
do the whole long drive. Like I can drive, 18 hours in a day.
Mhm.
But she wants to stop. Sleep. What's
I did
that?
Seattle.
Women.
I did Seattle to LA once, 17 hours straight.
Straight. Yeah.
That's yeah, there you go.
I just did
That's
Sheboygan to
hardcore.
San Antonio in a day. That was 21 hours.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild, but it's doable. It just gets a little rough at the end, Garrett. Like
Yeah.
those last couple hours, you're like, maybe I'm awake, maybe I'm not. Maybe I can do it.
I can't tell.
somewhere in the
None of us
middle.
The same.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Throw a little water in your
Just
face.
drive between the lines. You stay between those lines.
Stay between the lines. Find a good audiobook.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
Air conditioning.
X-Ray Girl.
Tomorrow I have my birthday stream before I head to Vegas on Tuesday. So that'll be really fun. Play a game, maybe something with crowd control. We also have 2 more soups as well. Weasel for 5 says things sure do get crazy down here in the event horizon of a 4th dimensional black hole. Hail everyone, be seeing you. Cheers.
Yeah.
And
Wild.
Matthew Hammond for 2 says we could mine helium 3 off the moon to power spacecraft.
We could.
Mhm.
There's a lot of helium-3 on the fucking moon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah. So very excited for Vegas. So
You're going to be
It's
here
okay.
when? Tuesday what?
Tuesday afternoonish.
Afternoonish.
Yes. So
All right.
I'll hit you up when I get in. Oh, and Eric K for 2 says extra girl B-Day month, send gift cards. Don't have
Yeah,
to send gift cards.
You've
Just
got
a
time.
nice happy birthday
The
is
whole
nice.
month of celebrating me.
The whole
Celebrating
Oh, gosh.
me, 'cause
I
I'm
mean,
a girl and I'm having a birthday.
In all honesty, I just am happy that I got to celebrate with my family and then I get to celebrate with friends. So
Super gay answer.
whatever.
I love
It's hard to get a group of friends together at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
It's true.
Especially when you're
It's
Tell
true.
me about it.
And you're across the world.
Yeah.
You're in fracking Toronto.
I've got people give me excuses why they can't go, and then fucking Disbrew's like, of course I'm coming.
Oh, sweet.
The
See you
Brit-
there.
One of the furthest away.
I got somebody who's like 100 miles away going, I don't know if I can make it. And fucking dude who's thousands of miles away is like, of course I'm coming.
Yeah.
All matter of desire. All right. Yeah, we just released a video. I had so much fun making it. How'd you like my little intro that I wrote?
I really like that, man. It was good. That was a good intro.
Thanks, man. Had a lot of fun making that. And our next video that Perry's gonna have to edit because you'll be here. Are you bringing your laptop?
Yeah.
But Perry's probably gonna edit anyway. Probably do Daredevil.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the
Yeah, very different
finale.
review from my one earlier.
The finale. Yeah. Dude, I've been rewatching it. Oh,
The greatest
It's rough.
disappointment.
It's
Yeah.
fucking terrible now. All right, Mike.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to tell the fine folks where to find you? Anything coming up? A show? Anything?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna hang out with these weird people in Vegas for the next couple days. I'm gonna go to
the meetup.
get together, meet up.
Heck yeah.
Who knows? There might even be an AJ sighting at one of those. And other than that, I've got my regular podcast, Real News Live with Mike and Jen on Rumble and other channels on YouTube, and that's more of a financial thing, talking about the upcoming crisis and all that stuff. And then I've got a couple things coming up in Arizona, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I'm there on a weekend. It's a thing you spend a whole weekend with us. It's me and Laura Eisenhower, John D'Souza, and who is Tom Reed, who's had a very interesting abduction experience. And then doing it again in June 6th, 7th, and 8th with JJ Ainsworth, Brooks Agnew, who's really into helium-3 mining on the moon, and Marina Sarin. It's her American debut. So those are big, important weekends coming up. It's expensive, but they have a payment plan if you want to spend the entire weekend. Everything is
where in Arizona?
Sholo, Arizona,
okay,
which is a small town, up by the telescope place. Yep. And then the whole thing is covered. You got transportation back and forth. You stay in a hotel, dance parties, food is all covered, alcohol, open bar covered. Well,
JJ Ainsworth.
It's not going to appeal to you.
Hugh Newman, JJ Ainsworth.
Hugh Newman and JJ Ainsworth.
Yeah.
Now just JJ Ainsworth, but
Ainsworth.
She's going to talk about megaliths, and Marina's going to talk about secret space programs and abductions and all that stuff. And then there's the other weekend with Laura and John and those are coming up, and those are really going to be great weekends because you can just spend the whole weekend with us and have fun.
Cool. Right on. That sounds good.
That's it.
Cosmic Summit too. Don't forget Cosmic Summit's coming up in 2 months.
Which I didn't get invited to, by the way.
Do you want to get invited?
Maybe next year, if you don't, or this year,
Come on, man.
There's a UFO part though. I'll hit up George.
Just begging. I'm just
we gotta talk to him.
Yeah, I'll talk to George. It's all good. All right. Hey, I got a video out. That's great. We'll be back next week. No, we won't be back next week. We will not be back next week. We'll be back the week after.
Yes.
What I'm doing next Sunday is Forbidden Frontier related, and I will have news for you the following week from what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of Forbidden Frontier stuff. If it wasn't for damn 15 being shut down, I would have gone to the Blythe petroglyphs today, and I couldn't go. God damn it. So we're doing I'm doing a couple little adventures. So stay tuned for that. We will see you on Friday Night Tights. Have no idea who our guest is, but I'll see you on Friday Night Tights, and we'll be live from the meetup, I'm sure.
I would say go to Geeks and Gamers to see that live. I think
they do all that. All that.
And then Barton Bella for 20 says, Gary, buy Eric K a birthday drink for me in Vegas.
Is it his birthday too?
It's mine, Eric, and Gina's birthday all on the same day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll get Eric a cup of coffee. Does he want booze? Does he want a sober guy buying him a booze?
I'll get you a drink, Eric.
I'll get him an apple teeny or something like that.
Oh my God.
Something with a pineapple in it.
An appropriately
Hey.
drink, right? Like an apple teeny.
Can never do that to you.
Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you, Matthew Kadish.
Bye.
Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.